Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 93. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture things, and sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I am joined, as always, by Andrea.
Good evening, everyone.
So, if you're watching this, you can see we've got quite the crowd tonight. We're going to go around and introduce people here in a moment for any new viewers, and we do have one brand new guest.
Yeah.
Tonight we only have one news story, and then later we're going to be talking about the legendary Ridley Scott. So stay tuned for that. Before we get there, drink holidays, Andrea.
Yeah. So we're just a few days into the month of February, so we're gonna dovetail on the end of January 31st. It was National Hot Chocolate Day,
Yes.
which seems quite fitting, if you've been up here anywhere near the Midwest or even, the past couple of days, the whole entire central to northeastern belt has gotten icy. So stay warm out there, curl up with a hot chocolate because it was National Hot Chocolate Day recently. Other than that, as we get into February is also, much like January, has a national month-long holiday. It is National Stout Month. I'm not quite as excited about this as I was about Ginuary. I thought that was clever and awesome, and I like gin. Not quite a stout fan, but I know there are stout people out there, so enjoy all month long if that is you.
Is that like a height joke? Or
That would be more of a weight joke.
okay.
So I doubt that I was making a weight joke.
Either way.
Either way. And then tomorrow, February 5th, it is International Pisco Sour Day. Which basically pisco is a liqueur, and it's a kind of white brandy. So basically a brandy sour, but kind of looks more like, I don't know, kind of looks like a margarita actually. In the pictures I've seen of it.
I was looking it up, and I don't know. I hadn't thought of this before, but we've been doing this for a while, and we're recycling days. Obviously, some I
Some of
remember
them,
this
yeah.
day coming up before. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Longevity, baby.
right.
Yep.
We're back at it, back
Yep.
around.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Right. All right. So we're gonna talk to and introduce our guests first.
Mhm.
Thank you for all this great holidays, Andrea. But
Mhm.
Shane, you're returning guest. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. What are you drinking?
I am drinking water.
All right.
Nice.
Hey, in a fancy bottle.
Artisanal.
Yeah.
Straight from the tap.
Delicious.
All right. Well, that's great.
Water.
We need water every day. So, what have you been up to since we've last seen you? What have you been watching and that sort of thing?
Well, Emily and I have been into Peacemaker.
Okay.
I'm keeping up with that. Pretty funny, entertaining, and we just started watching. Apropos of the topic this week, we just started watching the new season of Raised by Wolves.
Nice. Cool.
Watched the first 2 episodes last night.
Well, if you want to be, I don't know, if you want to feel feelings, you tell me what kind that you feel. You can go on YouTube and watch my rant about Peacemaker. I'm sure that's why Andrea was smirking
Rant,
over there
you
as you
say?
said
I
that.
was.
'Cause
Give me a brief summation of what it.
Yeah.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, John?
hard
He's a
thumbs
big
down.
thumbs down. I am a thumbs up.
Thumbs down.
I'm a
Wow.
thumbs up.
I'll have to go watch this
down.
rant then.
Yeah,
There's
you
nothing.
go-
You don't find anything redeeming about it, or what?
It's quite
Eagerly.
lengthy.
Eagly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Eagly's good. I am so disappointed by the show because I've been a fan of for James Gunn material, all I know are 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies and the
Suicide Squad?
the Suicide Squad, yeah. And I liked all 3 of those things. Quite a lot actually. So I had high expectations for this and was massively let down. Now I've only seen 2 episodes, so I don't know if things change. But yeah, anyone that really wants to know how I feel about it, they go ahead and check because I don't want to get into spoilers for sure here and all that stuff. So if you've seen it and like it and want to hate me, go ahead and watch this. So
I'm excited to talk to you more about this. but
okay,
We can
All
save that for another time.
yeah.
So watch Slither,
Okay.
John.
Slither. Okay,
Yeah, it's
I
like
have heard of
new-
that one.
Yeah, it has Nathan Fillion and Elizabeth Banks, but you should check it out. It's kind of fun.
Oh. Okay, cool.
That was James Gunn?
It was directed by him, yeah.
Oh, far out.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. Next over, I guess that's Pete. I mean, I'm not sure. Returning.
This is Johnny,
Yes.
two-time All Valley Karate champion.
Okay. Well, welcome, Johnny.
Step into my dojo.
Yeah.
We'll have some banquets.
Well,
Some
what have you?
sandwiches with bacon.
Okay, so Pete, what are you drinking? What have you been watching? Clearly, it seems like a little bit of Cobra Kai, possibly.
Cobra Kai. Yes. Having a good time with that. Nothing fancy. Just a little bit of Captain.
Okay.
Mixing it with the
Oh, so you're
champagne
drinking
of
Captain Straight.
colas.
Like, RC is like liquid gold in Chicago, just so you know.
And then Andrea's
Okay.
favorite mug next to the Walking Dead mug.
Yeah.
nice.
It's America's third favorite cola.
Okay.
RC Code.
All right. So,
Well,
Awesome.
are you caught up on Cobra Kai then? And
Yep.
your
Finished it. Enjoyed it.
okay, nice.
There was punching, there was kicking, and there was a whole bunch of comedy. So I got my money's worth for
Okay.
subscribing to
Nice.
networks. Yeah.
I see in the show notes you listed Ozark. I
Yeah.
know of this by name, but I don't know anything about it. What is that? Is that worth it? Let's
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoy it. It is if you want to know about money laundering, watch the show. I've watched 3 seasons and I'm still not exactly sure of the fine minutia details of how to launder money, but they
Okay.
keep trying to explain it to me.
And if you had to do it, you'd be able to, right?
Oh yeah, I can whip up the software, no problem. The funny the part I enjoy is Jason Bateman always plays like this wisecracking, smooth talker, and it's a bit of a departure for him in this, where he's more of the Sheldon Cooper is the easiest reach, but he's the mathematical whiz, and he's not really more cold than warm, and it affects his marriage in such a way that they get into a bad business relationship and they have to flee to the Ozarks, and they launder money for the cartel, and the criminal elements of the Ozarks aren't quite ready to allow this. So there's a lot of intrigue. It's fun. I would check it out.
Okay.
There's no laser beams and alien goo, so it's a departure, as you can tell from The Shining and my other decor. This isn't my usual fare in viewing, but I'm enjoying Ozark quite a bit.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I've heard some amazing things about that show. I've been meaning to check it out, and I think didn't another season just drop recently?
Yeah, I think it's on
Yes.
4.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be the final season,
Okay.
and nobody told me. Spoiler alert: we only got to see half the season.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So we
It's
get
Dune
to
all
this.
over again for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like yeah, but this is okay because I know the second part's coming out, and then
Mhm.
I didn't think I'd be like in and out, and now I got to wait years for Dune Part 2, and it's extortion, baby. They're making me pay twice the amount of money for one episode, but you can go back several episodes of this show to feel my rage.
Sure.
All right. Well then, up next, brand new guest,
Yeah.
Renato.
Woohoo, welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Long
Thank you for
time
having me.
listener. You like
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
always
chat
creeping.
helping
Yeah, I'm
out. Yeah.
lurking.
So
Big king.
why don't you tell us what you're drinking, maybe a little bit about yourself and what you've been watching?
So I am drinking. Well, it's empty now. It's in my other glass, but it's a fusion whiskey. It's a mix of different Kentucky bourbons. So I do have some. It's here.
Nice.
In case you thought.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, this one's pretty good. So
Nice.
Bard
I usually
Okay.
tend to favor some whiskeys if I had to pick a drink, but I do enjoy
Staying
my
true
stouts
to
too.
the
Yeah,
you're staying true to the roots of our show,
yeah.
where this was all
Mhm.
spawned out of.
Oh,
Yep.
that's
Whiskey
awesome.
love.
Carrying. Yep.
That's awesome. No, this one's really good. We for a while during the, I guess not during the pandemic, but I guess it's still going. But we did a few like tastings with the buddies, and we ended up getting a
Yeah.
bunch of different liquors and whiskeys, and we tried a ton of stuff and nailed it with this one. So,
Nice. All
but
right.
yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so people know, I guess I'm from Chicago, Midwest as well. Yeah, I'm kind of into everything too. Like I don't usually you could tell from the list that I have. Like I have Euphoria. I was watching Preacher, Lost in Space. There's I watched a movie with my girlfriend called The Tinder Swindler, which is kind of
I'm
wild.
so excited to watch that. Like, don't tell me anything. I'm so
It's
pumped.
it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, but and that's like a documentary. So
Mhm.
I kind of like to dip my feet in and everything. Um, so, but
We got
besides
to
that,
test his Chicago cred though. All right,
oh,
you
okay.
ready?
Ooh.
Yeah, what
Best
is
pizza. Best pizza.
best pizza? Well, considering I ordered it tonight, Luminati's.
It's Lou's. Oh, you're in Chicago. All
Oh
right.
yeah, I'm in Chicago. Yeah.
All right. Best burger.
Yeah, best burger. Oh, I don't know. That's tough. Fuck. There's so many. I really can't pick. I mean, Portillo's is a pretty good burger.
Oh, Portillo's. We didn't make it to Italian beef for combos yet.
Oh, Italian beefs. Shit. Don't get me started. I'm already fat. Now I get fat talking about it.
What
Well,
about
if it went
Kuma's
that
Corner?
way,
How do you
hold
feel
on.
about Kuma's?
Kuma's, you know what? I haven't been in years. It was really
Okay.
good from what I've heard recently. It's like a rock themed burger
Yeah.
bar for you guys who don't know. Like all the burgers are named after rock bands or heavy metal, I guess if you want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been lately. So far, they say since they expanded, it's not as great, but it was
The
good when I
original.
have it. So
Yeah, the
original
original
on the north
still
side.
holds up. Yeah.
Yeah, but
If you get
I
a
mean, yeah, it's great.
chance, go to Offset Barbecue. My friend owns it.
Offset, where's that
Yep.
at?
It's in Logan Square area.
I swear. Okay, cool.
They're less than a year old, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. Offset, sweet.
Is
Cool.
anybody else like ready for a snack break right now? Like anybody
Yeah.
cool if I just like go make myself some pizza
I
or
hear
a sandwich
Chicago and I'm
or...
like, we got to talk to food. Right?
Yeah.
Why don't you just
Yeah.
yell at Chris to make you a sandwich?
Make me a
Just-
sandwich.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I've been here my whole life. I met Alan obviously through school at Drake University in Des
Mhm.
Moines, fabulous Des Moines. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I'm excited to talk about Ridley Scott and all that. So
Yeah. No,
Be
you do
fun.
have a good variety of shows here that you're watching.
Yeah.
All of Us Are Dead. That's the new Korean zombie
Korean.
one, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've only seen 2 episodes, and it's pretty good. It's a lot of got a lot of Train to Busan vibes. If you guys seen that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
another
good.
Korean one. So yeah, that was good.
Some
Euphoria we caught
Kingdom
up
vibes
though.
too.
Yeah, Kingdom. Yeah, Euphoria is
I
really
love
good. If you haven't
Kingdom.
seen that, but Euphoria is a little bit more.
Does
Mhm.
anybody have news on Kingdom season 2?
Season 3?
3, yeah.
Season 3? Kingdom? What?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Oh, was it
there's
2?
2
Was it 2
seasons and a movie.
Okay.
I haven't
It is
seen the I still
movie.
haven't seen the movie yet. But
You should. It gives some good context.
I mean, it seems like
And
it's the in between season 2 and 3, right? That's
I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
in part, I will
Okay.
say. I'm not going to give everything away, but yes, there are some pieces that will bridge, I think, to season 3. But it's
Okay.
very good. It's very good.
That's one of the
Yes.
shows that's escaped me. I love me some zombie stuff, but I haven't got I started Kingdom and then I kind of just stopped for some reason and haven't got back
Okay.
into it. But I got to do that.
The I watched about half an episode. I like just peeked into All of Us Are Dead, and the zombie action, like movement and like the way they were kind of look and feel was very Kingdom like. If you know,
Yeah.
for
Well,
those
you
who have
should
watched Kingdom.
you should read a book by an author I know. I think it's called Zombie at the Gates. Yeah, I think that
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Send that my way.
We'll have to put links and stuff
Zombie at the yeah. Put a link. I'll
in
get
the
that.
descriptions later. Yeah.
I'll get that.
Vampire Autopsy, if you.
Oh shit. That sounds
Gotta
awesome.
get the
Another
plugs in.
classic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Beginning and the end of the show plugs in.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, awesome. Andrea, how about you? What are you drinking? And what's your week being like?
Ooh, my drink looks super cool. Sorry.
What is it? What is it? Name it. Name it.
So it's the Alien Acidic Blood Punch.
Oh,
What do you mean you bleed
nice.
acid? How can you bleed
I-
acid, man?
How can I drink acid?
Because she's a xenomorph.
My big secret revealed. You saw it all here. So that's what I'm drinking on theme for tonight's discussion of Ridley Scott and his oeuvre. For things that I've watched this week, boy, I've been all over the place. Continuing Gargoyles because I can't stop and I love it and I'm reliving my childhood and enjoying every minute of it. I watched the next episode of Peacemaker. I am loving it enough to keep going. Like, I know we did a whole spoilery discussion of that, and I had some issues with the show. You had many issues with the show, John.
Yes.
But I think episode 3 took a stab at addressing some of the issues that I was concerned about. So
Okay.
I'm intrigued enough to go to 4. So, and then I started Hulu's recently released series Pam and Tommy, which is all
Okay,
about
yeah.
Pamela
Oh, yeah.
Anderson and Tommy Lee and their
Nice.
torrid marriage and subsequent release of their sex tape. It's fun. It's
I bet.
wild and crazy and all over the place, and I feel a little like I'm doing acid along with Tommy Lee as I watch it, but it's intriguing. I quite enjoy it so far, and I think Sebastian Stan and Lily James are doing great as the 2 leads. So
I actually didn't realize that it was them too when I saw the trailer for it recently. I was just like, holy shit.
Sebastian Stan
Yeah.
as Tommy Lee, wow, that's a
Yeah, that's
transformation.
awesome.
Like, he does it good. And I know he reached out to Tommy Lee and, like, you know, kind of got a feel for what he, you know, a lot of his mannerisms and
was.
like way of talking and stuff like that. So, yeah, huge props to those 2 actors because they're crushing it.
Nice.
That's awesome. I have to check that out.
And then in the spirit of Ridley Scott week, I watched a couple things I'd never seen before of his. I've never seen Thelma and Louise, so I watched that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I like understood cultural references to it and I'd seen clips of it before, but realized I never like sat down and watched it. So I did.
I'm happy for you.
Thumbs up. Really enjoy that film. I watched The Last Duel, one of his more recent releases.
It's because of
say-
Marvel. No one went to this.
Yeah. Well, pandemic too, but
Yeah.
No.
Not according to Ridley, for
Nope.
sure.
oh wow.
Just
I
Marvel.
had very back and forth thoughts about this. There were things I
Okay.
really enjoyed and appreciated, and things that I was like, I don't know about that, but I don't want to get too spoilery yet. And then I
Unfortunately,
did.
Go ahead,
what?
sorry. No, I was saying, unfortunately, I only got like through half of that movie.
It's long. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really Scott, so he's gonna sit you down and keep you
Yeah.
there. But
It's the
yeah,
same-
so I had
It's the
very
same
back
movie
and forth
3
thoughts.
times in a row.
It is, yeah. Although, like, I appreciated that he didn't shoot like the exact same scenes. Like, even though he was like telling the story from different character point of view, we didn't see the exact same scenes all the time.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, thank God! Like, I don't actually have to watch all of the same thing
Yeah.
over and over and over again. So yeah, so I finished that. I finished the first episode of season 2 of Raised by Wolves. Definitely continuing along our crazy course in this show. I think, yeah, season 2 is definitely not a place for anybody to jump in if you've never seen Raised by Wolves. You have to watch the first season because it
Okay.
is just going to be like balls to the wall, totally nuts. Like, you're not going to get anything. So
Yeah, I kept saying what?
like, even me who like went back and like did a little recap, and I still like it started and I was like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
what, who, where? Oh, why they're here now? Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, just rounding out my cultural week. I'm reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which is a fun sci-fi book. And then continuing along my Wheel of Time journey, reading slogging through Crossroads of Twilight.
Oh, so it hasn't really picked up for you now.
And
Um,
it
I thought it
won't.
was starting to come out of it.
No. He is still like this is one of his last books. I think it might be no, 11's his last. He's definitely like so far spun into his own weeds. Robert Jordan is that he's just like, I have so much to say and I just can't
Mhm.
stop saying it. It's like the book is like one big freaking prologue that he cannot stop writing to what he actually wants to write. So
Okay. All right.
What's been your favorite one so far? I'm on book 2.
you're on book 2? Oh, so you're
Mhm.
on The Great Hunt.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Love the hunt for the Horn of Valir. Ooh, my favorite though. That's a good question. I'd have to think about that.
Well,
I
because
love
Andrew, you read most of these quite some time ago.
long
So
ago.
yeah.
But I did start rereading the series from the beginning as well, just to like kind of get back into where the show is going.
Do
So
you hate
I'm reading
yourself?
it at 2 points in
Oh my God,
itself. It's so
Andrea.
weird.
It's,
I'm messing with
uh,
my own brain. It's not good. But
yeah.
yeah,
All
that's what
right.
I've been up to.
Cool.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. All kinds of fun stuff. So before we move on, what is in your drink? I forgot
Oh
to
yeah,
ask what is it
Acid,
composed of? Oh, okay. All right.
absinthe.
obviously.
Absinthe.
Absinthe. So it is rum, lime juice, pineapple juice, a little bit of ginger ale, and then a little bit of green food coloring.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice. Sounds tasty.
Oh, no carbonation?
Ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
There you go. Okay.
I wonder if we could use what's that green drink?
Alka-Seltzer.
Midori.
Midori. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say blue curacao, but yeah, Midori. I think.
Yeah.
Midori, yeah. I'm sure you could.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Just not something I had on hand.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a pretty anime week again. A couple things I had mentioned before, but I finished finally The Devil is a Part-Timer. I cannot believe that ending. It's shocking that now after what I say eight before 8 years or something, they're finally gonna make a season 2, and that's how they left it hanging. It's crazy.
See in another 8 years.
Yeah, no, it's coming this year, the new season 2, I guess. So, but yeah.
Oof.
Finished Mieruko-chan, another kind of comedy slash a little bit of supernatural sort of show, and we just started last night, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, which is like
I need to know
always
what that means.
yeah,
I know. I saw that title. It was like, so.
yes. So this is the reason we started
Fun.
because every time I see it in the store or just it pops up and it's like, what is that? What the hell could this
You
be?
cannot.
Someone is stuck on the toilet, or or just like has to go to the bathroom all the time. I still don't understand. So it's actually it's really uniquely drawn. It's pretty beautiful at this point. Only one episode in, but it is a different art style, and it's about there's actually a yokai or a ghost tale in Japan about this spirit, and it lingers in the bathroom. So this ghost is attached to whatever
So it's
restroom
like a
stall.
Japanese moaning myrtle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. And so if you can summon the ghost, it will grant a wish, but take something serious from you that you don't, you're not gonna know what it is, kind of thing.
Okay.
And so this little girl goes in and she has a wish and she has a crush on someone and wants the toilet bound Hanako-kun to
Do they use the
ask
Beatles
her.
as their theme song?
No,
She came in through the bathroom window.
they definitely not. Nope. But it's so far it's interesting. It's cute. It's well done. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and basically just lots of other anime. I'm like trying to get into Serial Experiments Lane again, going through that slowly. It's just like it's like a late 90s warning of over technologization and like falling too deeply into the internet and all this kind of thing. That
That'll
I think
never happen.
Yeah, no, it ahead of its time, I
Yeah.
think, but very, very weird. So I understand if it's not something that people are into. It's a slow burn
Mhm.
uh, kind of thing. So, and then I finally finished Akame ga Kill Zero, the manga. So now I can go and rewatch the regular series if I want. And I'm playing some D&D again. So
That a boy.
yeah, did a bunch of writing for that today yet. Been fun, like trying to remember and getting back into it. Um, the group finally had their first combat scenario for the first time in a few weeks, so that was good
Nice.
for him. So yeah, it still is stunning to me the things that I said in there and people just ignore or whatever.
The
Just like,
warnings.
yeah, just
Checked out.
whatever, I just didn't notice it. It's fine. So,
It's fine.
and
It's fine.
You smell dog. Let's keep going. Come on.
yeah. I spent a lot of time with this one particular shop that I knew one of my players would be interested in. It would not only for him in real life, but also for his character. And he never went in the
Sorry?
shop even once. Like I mentioned it every time they pass by. It's like, all right, I told you, whatever, that's fine.
He doesn't
So
trust it. He don't trust it.
no. So yeah, that's been my week. And for
Mhm.
drinks, I am celebrating 2 of the holidays, actually.
Ooh,
Oof.
check you out.
Yeah, I'm not holding
Chocolate
this
stout.
upside down.
Oh,
Yes, you're right. It's my camera's been blurry all night, so let's see if it kind of
Oh, there
focus there.
goes.
It's weird how it puts it upside down, but
oh,
it's
nice. Chocolates.
Stone Brewery and it's an imperial stout inspired by Mexican hot chocolate. So,
Nice.
Have you guys
boom.
had Mexican hot chocolate?
Nailing
Oh
it.
yeah, we
Yes.
always keep
Yeah.
it on hand. Yep.
Which one is it? Abuelita?
So, yeah.
Nice.
In the yellow pack, yeah.
Yeah. We got some in our cupboard too.
Good stuff.
Johnny, you ever check
Um,
out this show, the Dota Dragon's Blood?
No, I have not. Dota Dragon's Blood.
Right there on the old Netflix.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that.
Like
Not the
Dungeons
show,
and
but like,
Dragons.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not I've never these some of these like super sweaty video games that they're adapting into animation now. I'm just not into those games.
Sure.
So I haven't tried these. Dragon's Dogma here is another one that's and then obviously what's the new one? Arcane. So
Oh,
there's
Arcane's really good.
yeah.
Arcane is
Yeah.
amazing.
So I haven't
But
tried any of those yet, but
you like dragons and sword fighting, you should check out the Dragon's Blood.
yeah. Lots
I
to
don't
watch.
believe you.
Yeah.
No, I
John has a
a
hard
million
time with
miles away.
anything that's like adapted from its original format.
well, and there's also
Cowboy
this,
Bebop.
don't get me
No,
started.
Shane,
Don't get me
no, we're gonna be
started.
here forever. Why did
You
you
like
the live
start?
action
Yes. Staying here until midnight.
Wait, Pete, you watched the live action Netflix Cowboy Bebop
We'll have to
Yeah.
tap out on this.
and you liked it?
Much better than the cartoon.
Oh my god, I can't believe this
Oh
shit.
God,
You're the second
Shane.
person now.
Shane,
I can't
I blame you for
believe
bringing this up.
Did it. I killed the show.
Oh,
Get Johnny
God.
going.
I went someone told me on camera before after D&D that they watched this, that they liked it, and that they didn't like the cartoon. They turned it off after half an episode or something like that. And I didn't know what to say, and I sat on it for a while, and then I ranted at him in our group chat.
Buttering.
I just like can't handle it. It's so sacrilegious. It's like my favorite or second favorite show, period. Cowboy Bebop, the original.
Yep,
So
the
like I have a
anime,
personal attachment to it, and so I
Mhm.
take an affront when it's deranged and mangled as such.
Nigh impossible to meet your expectations for
Yeah,
sure.
for
Got
sure.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm teasing you. I thought the live action show was really good, but there's so much that they can't do in the live action, to compete with the anime. So
Sure.
You know, John, I've got a personal attachment to my mother. I don't get mad at other people when they like their mothers better than mine.
So, but that's assuming then that the person that likes this Kawiba live action one also has a personal attachment to that. Like, if you've developed such a bond in this short period of time to this show, I guess, but it's like, my mom came first, bitch. Yeah, it's like,
It is, yeah. It's unfortunately an imperfect metaphor
yeah.
in the sense of like
But
your
it
mom
said
isn't trying to do
so
like an
many yo
adaptation
mama
of
jokes.
John's mom.
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't have a
some yo
personal
mama
attachment
jokes.
to your mother
Yeah,
yet.
at the end of the day, I was just trying to be funny.
Definitely.
I know.
Get under John's
Who
Yeah,
skin.
doesn't love John?
People
John
know,
got
like-
John got philosophical with it. He's like, my mom came first. It's like the chicken and the egg.
No,
Emily really liked the live action show. You guys will have to talk about it.
no, I
She's
don't
never
want
seen.
to.
She's never seen the anime, so
I know.
Mm.
Yeah. And I said before, that's who this is for. This is for people that have not seen the anime.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's going to be a small minority of people. Maybe Pete's one of them that has seen the anime, appreciates it, and then also likes this show.
Mhm.
But,
You don't think it did any service to the original source material?
I think it did. I think there were pieces that worked for me, but on the whole, I didn't like it.
I think that I think the casting of John Cho is fine, and they
love
did
that
right
casting.
by having the original music, having Yoko Kanno in there.
Oh
for
my
most
god!
stuff, so
Mhm.
Part of what made that show so great was just the opening credits. Like,
yeah,
sometimes I would just, that's what I would go to bed to. I just want to watch the opening credits to Cowboy Bebop, and then I'm
Mhm.
good. I can finish the rest of it later.
I thought the
I've watched-
visuals were stunning. I mean, truly, like just like the way it was shot and like the scenes. But yeah, I had a hard time with the stylization in live action.
I watched a lot of. I've said this before too, like how it's weird that, I don't want to sit and complain about something not being faithful to the source by saying, well, you took it too literal. But
Yeah.
there are situations where it was kind of the early days of comic book movies. It's like, well, they weren't going to make the X-Men wear yellow spandex because it wouldn't translate very well to screen. So you can be upset that they don't have that costume, but it's like, well, maybe if you did it, it would just look silly.
But don't they?
So what's that? Don't
They-
they look silly?
No,
I
I was
mean,
just they have reference to those costumes, but yeah, they obviously make
referenced it
fun,
because
they make fun of
yes.
the silliness because yes, it is ridiculous to expect somebody to wear like yellow spandex and
Yep.
be like scary.
So I think it's part of that. I also think that whoever made this did not understand the characters. They just didn't. They just don't get it. They took away mystery from. I don't want to spoil anything for people. They took away mystery from, and completely changed Spike's love interest from his past. They made a Vicious looks. I don't know what the deal. You can't take him seriously. They really degrade that character. The group gets really buddy way too fast, whereas kind of in the anime, it's like drawn out for a long time, and you're never really quite sure where they all stand with one another. It's a lot more complex. Okay, Andrea. I see you here. What? Look, yes, it's
She
not a
just started
Cowboy
playing
Bebop
music.
episode. I
Here's
did.
her
Yeah. Yeah. I
Gonna go check on my baby, BRB.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All
Yes,
this hate
I
speech,
could
John.
sit in front of a camera and rant about this
passionate.
thing myself
Yep,
for a long time.
he
Yeah.
could.
So, but at the same time, I understand. Again, I don't need to watch it. I don't want to see it. I don't want anything to do with it, and that's fine. Other people can have at it. So
You
I'm
didn't think the change in the love interest was a pleasant surprise?
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna watch the live action first, and then I'll watch the.
Interesting.
and
Interesting.
then talk
And-
about how you just couldn't get into the
Yeah, it
animated
just
series.
wasn't like the
It
original
wasn't my
show.
thing.
If
The
if
voice acting was terrible. The
if you
animation
do
was
that, let me know. Let me know what you
I'll
think.
do it. You want me? I'll do it. Fuck.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'd be
All right.
interested in what you think
Have
of
Yeah, I
it.
thought
We're
the
gonna
acting in
have
an
a second
animated
Cowboy
series
Bebop
was
show.
hackneyed. You know,
I have zero what's it, what do you say, exposure
Attachment
to
or
the well,
okay.
zero attachment first off, but
Yeah.
exposure to the
Yeah.
You
So you're
you
you're a
have
blank
no
manga.
canvas.
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
Pretty much.
no
The only thing I've
equity,
seen,
right? No
yeah.
investment.
The
Yeah,
only
you
thing
have
I've
no
seen was
stake.
one scene from the live action where it's the black guy talking to the white woman, and people were like, this back and forth was so cringe, I guess, if you want to say the word.
Right.
And that's
Mhm.
the only thing I saw on like
Hmm.
the internet. So
Yeah, no, it's that's
I
a,
think
it's a
it'll be
common
proof.
theme, and so I'm
Yeah.
always surprised. Well, again, that's one of the things. Like, even if you have no connection or familiarity with the original, I've heard so many times people say, "Yeah, this was really cringe. This dialogue was really
Oh, okay.
rough." So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll check that out, and then I'll do the manga and report back.
Yeah,
Please
that's
do.
perfect. All right,
Hmm.
moving on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shane.
Light tangent.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah.
So how good is the Book of Boba Fett?
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. You wanna? Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah.
You guys,
Um,
Peacemaker. Oh my God, I just watched
So
it.
You see my list of things I've done is all anime. There's a reason for
yeah,
that. Yeah.
The
I
There's a
was reading
reason.
that, and I'm like, I don't know,
positivity.
three
Yeah.
quarters of the words in this this
Yeah.
list.
All right. One and only news story. We're going
Mhm.
into it. It's I wasn't gonna have any news stories potentially because we have enough to talk about with Ridley Scott, but we
Yeah.
haven't had and I definitely want his opinion on this and some of the other things surrounding it. So right now in the gaming industry, we've been seeing big kind of movements of
Acquisitions.
consolidation. Yep. We've
Mhm.
had acquisition galore from the big players, from Microsoft in particular, but also Sony and even Nintendo.
Mhm.
And then other players like Tencent and stuff. So the latest news, people took it as like a counterpunch to Microsoft's offering, even though this deal had been in the works for a while. Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion.
Mhm.
So, to my understanding, Renato, you're a PlayStation player,
Yeah.
and I know Shane, you played some PlayStation as well. So, I'll start with you, Renato. What do you feel about the acquisition season in general amongst the different companies, what we've seen so far, and then also about the latest with Sony buying Bungie?
I mean, I don't know. My video gaming has been a little bit lower recently, but even just focusing primarily on like Activision and how Sony just would get, like Pacific or Warzone and stuff like that first, because I guess they had that deal with Activision. You know, because I had the PlayStation, I was like, yeah, that's great. It's awesome.
Mhm.
I get to play all this before, people that have Xboxes or whatever. So yeah, of course I'm gonna love it. Now that
Mhm.
obviously Microsoft has it, I mean, I don't actually care because it wasn't anything substantial. It's like, okay, you played Warzone for a week in advance, great. You know the
Right.
map a little bit better than I would. Um, but I mean, Activision is pretty big, and I mean, as far as from what I've read, there's Sony's still getting everything. Like it's still shared properties or whatever. So as far as that goes, I mean, I guess it's fine. I mean, that kind of stuff happens. The Bungie one was kind of a surprise. I didn't know that was actually going to happen. So when I saw that happen, I was like, I mean, I only know Bungie for Halo, honestly, because I never really played on
Sure.
Xbox. But I was just like, well, shit, is Sony gonna get Halo now? Like, are they gonna remake all of them and relaunch them on PlayStation?
No,
Because that'd be insane.
Microsoft
So,
owns the
also,
IP. Yeah.
yeah, I figured,
Yeah.
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 So, but honestly, I don't know what else Bungie has. I think they have a few other games that were pretty big, and I can't
Well,
remember.
it's
But
interesting. Bungie, they started as a Mac game company.
okay,
They started
Mhm.
making Apple games, and they made this old shooter I still have. It's called Oni or whatever, and that's
oh,
Mhm.
kind of
okay,
how they got their start. And then Microsoft came and swooped in and bought them up. So
Mhm.
then they were in Microsoft's hands for a while, and that's where because Halo was going to be a Mac game, and then
Mhm.
Microsoft bought them and
Wow.
like, we like this Halo thing, and they're
Yep.
launching a new system. We need this. So thanks to Bungie and Halo, the Xbox exists,
yeah.
and so now it's quite ironic that Sony is now taken.
I know they're taking
But
over. Sure.
for a while, Bungie was part of was it? I think they were part of Activision as well, and then they like bought themselves out. They wanted out of that, so they were independent. Been looking for a buyer. Sony comes in. The interesting thing with this acquisition over the others is they've been really vocal about saying how they're going to remain quite independent. The PlayStation blog says they want to be very clear to the community that Bungie will remain an independent and multi-platform studio and publisher. So that's really interesting. It's
I was
yeah.
saying that kind of stuff, like, not really surprising. I mean, I like I said, I don't touch Xbox that much, so in terms of like their independent games, I'm not well versed. But like PlayStation independent games are honestly like pretty fucking great. Sorry, but they're pretty great. Like God of War alone, they have even Ratchet and Clank. I really like
Yeah,
those
their
games.
first party stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the first party stuff is just like, I mean, their library is pretty decent. So like, if they give Bungie full charge of make their own games, like I could see them doing that.
Yep. Well, it's for them. They get to buy this. They get an instant revenue stream because their
Yep.
big game is Destiny. So that's what everybody plays now. And so they've pitched to Bungie that they want to make Destiny into a multimedia thing. So that means Destiny movies and whatever, So
Mobile.
yeah, probably. So Bungie's interested in this, and Sony's interested in the recurring revenue. They've said within the next few years they want to have like 10 games as service games going, because their core thing now obviously is, like as you mentioned, God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Ghost of Tsushima,
Yeah,
Horizon, all these things. They're all tons of great ones. I mean, they've built quite a library, but those don't offer recurring revenue. And so when their lunch is being eaten by a game like Halo or something, or Sea of Thieves even, that people keep coming back into, they need to offer something like that. But we don't have any issues with the general consolidation, or just like it's the name of the game. Things are gonna move around. Exclusivity is gonna shift hands. I mean, it's kind of crazy that Microsoft now has the rights to Spyro and Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I personally don't have any issues, but it's almost in the same vein as like Disney becoming this empire, right? Just buying
Right.
everything, and everything falls under the Disney umbrella. So I mean, I guess I won't have an issue with it until some independent company, I guess either Sony takes something and mucks it up, like Spider-Man or something. Like
Sure.
they don't let Sam Raimi finish Spider-Man 3 like how he wants to, because Sony needs to have its hands on it or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be an issue until they do that. So, I mean, as far as monopolizing the gaming industry, it's above my head. Pay grade, and I'm sure it will feel some repercussions in some way. But hopefully, the independent companies keep doing what they get to do, and Sony just gives them the money to do it.
Yeah. Shane, I know you're a big Last of Us fan. Do you have any thoughts on this kind of thing?
Oh, I can't say that I honestly really do. I mean, honestly, I've been more of a PC gamer for the last, I don't know, 5-8 years or something. So it really hasn't affected me, I guess, one way or the other. Most of the games that I want to play, I can just play on my computer.
Sure. Yeah. How about you, Pete? I know you've recently delved back into the gaming ecosystem. Here.
I left a long time ago.
You gave it up? Oh no!
No. Now I'm back. And
what drug you back in?
Kids.
Oh, you kids.
So we've been living off of a Wii for a decade, and I'm like, I just don't want to get another console. And so for them, we finally broke down and got a Switch, and then we can play Skyrim on the Switch. So there goes my free time. So.
Did a new one just come out, or is coming out, Elder Scrolls or something?
It probably, but it's been 12 years. I never got into Skyrim, and so even though I'm 12
on everything.
I know it's still.
I can play it on my refrigerator.
Yeah.
Damn, that sounds nice. You got a nice refrigerator.
It orders groceries for me.
That's awesome. And you play Skyrim, sweet.
Well, that's cool. I mean, yeah, it's just like the acquisition stuff does end up having an impact. I think it's interesting because Skyrim now is a Microsoft game. So the next one, unless Nintendo makes some sort of deal by putting Game Pass on Nintendo, they're not going to get Elder Scrolls 6. It will be on places that have Game Pass will get Elder Scrolls 6, the next Skyrim. So
Can we read Alan's notes? Because this is hilarious.
Yes.
What is it here?
How to play Skyrim with Alexa.
Oh,
Yeah.
A quick back to our favorite
Yes.
new.
We tried that once, I think, at Ryan and Melissa's or something like that. Yeah. It's like, choose your own adventure thing. It says it describes to you like D&D what's happening, and then you say go left or go right or do this,
That's
do
awesome.
that. It just gives you options audibly.
That and a bottle of booze. That's a good weekend. That'd be all right.
Entertainment for hours.
Well, the Amazon Echo would have been cheaper than the Switch, I guess. I don't know. A greater invasion of privacy, but you're, all kinds of
fine.
jokes it could tell you as well.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. Well, I just thought I'd get some thoughts there on the one big story. Andre, do you have any more thoughts? I know we've talked acquisitions a lot and stuff, but
No, I mean, I think it's probably, a little bit of a reaction to, the many deals that have been going on in the gaming industry lately, the massive acquisitions that have been happening. I feel like all the major players feel like they're needing to do something right now to compete with each other, and this is a natural next step. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I couldn't have told you that who or how or the deal was going to go down, but I mean, this acquisition after a month of how many
Yep.
surprises me not at all, I guess.
Yep. It's just interesting how they come out feeling personal.
Yes.
Because,
Yes, they do.
Microsoft, Sony had new Xbox dev kits before a lot of people because their own studio had to sit and make the Xbox version of MLB The Show
Mhm.
for both PlayStation and then Xbox, and Xbox got it day one on Game Pass. So you could play that thing for a Sony game for free on
Mhm.
Xbox if you have Game Pass.
Yep.
And then Sony does this now, buys the people that made Halo, essentially ensured Xbox's success. And then Microsoft, again, now owns Crash and
Right.
Spyro.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of wild.
They bought the
Just
studio
trading
that
back and forth.
Sony had just signed 2 exclusive deals with. So
Yep.
Ghostwire Tokyo, which hasn't come out yet, and Deathloop, both now are Microsoft games that will appear on the PS5 exclusively. It's just it feels personal. I know it's
Yes.
not, but it just comes off that way. So
And then
Trading
Nintendo buys
blows.
Sony and Microsoft.
yeah. Well, I don't know what kind of bank they're going to for that, but
Mhm.
yeah.
I
Yep.
feel the need to quote the last line of George Orwell's 1984. 2 gin-scented tears trickled down the sides of his nose, but it was all right. Everything was all right now. The struggle was finished. He had won the victory over himself, and he loved Big Brother.
Nice. Well, on that note, we should talk about Ridley Scott because someone had mentioned before he did the 1984 Apple commercial. So perfect segue there.
Yeah.
Firstly, news-wise,
Mhm.
we'd mentioned it before briefly. Some of you are watching it already, but Raised by Wolves season 2 has premiered, and Ridley Scott has his fingers in this.
Ridley Scott did also, I just read a recent article, he did also say that he feels this show should be best enjoyed with 3 bottles of wine consumed and
So you gotta
then
be-
go try to understand
Blackout.
You gotta be absolutely trashed to
Yep.
enjoy it.
it. I read it. He gave an
Sounds
interview
like-
to the Guardian and was
Don't
like,
watch
yeah,
the
no,
film
it's so much
first."
better after 3 bottles of wine. You'll follow the story. And I was like, okay. I mean,
Sounds like all my friends who are into Pink Floyd, you might like Pink
Yeah.
Floyd. But you don't get Pink Floyd unless, you're
right.
You
deep
look like
in
you
your
get
bong rip.
Pink Floyd. You look like you get Pink Floyd right now.
Right now I do. Yep. It's the
Mhm.
hair.
So yeah, I like your comment here, Andrea, about this
Mm.
being odd how it's promoted so much as a Ridley Scott thing.
Yeah. Like every media outlet and every media article I've seen has been like, "Oh, tune in for season 2 of Ridley Scott's Raised by Wolves." I'm like, you guys realize he directed the first 2 episodes. Didn't even
Season
come up
1.
with the idea. Like, yeah, season 1 directed the first few episodes. Has nothing to do with season 2 other than he's an EP. I mean, he didn't come
Yep.
up with the story idea, but it's somehow Ridley Scott's Raised by Wolves. Like,
Well, and
I
there's
mean,
a
talk
lot
about
of
trading on a name here.
yes.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like
It
that's
pushes
just what it
name
is.
around a lot though, in
Yeah.
like a lot of,
Yep.
especially a lot of big movies, like 2040, like Blade Runner 2049. I feel like his name was. He was just an executive producer there.
Yep.
I feel like they still threw his name around, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I've found like super frustrating when I'm like going to look for, Ridley Scott directed or written by or whatever. And I'll find movies and they're like, "Oh, like Ridley Scott attached to this." And it's like he's an EP. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, come on."
The worst
So,
is from the studio that brought you The Dark Knight.
yes.
Okay.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
A
Even
romantic
less to
comedy.
do.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing new. But I remember like watching some behind the scenes videos and stuff for season 1, and they were talking about how involved he was, and he'd be detailing the creatures, and he had all kinds of storyboards and stuff. But like you say, that doesn't continue. It's just
Yeah.
to begin with. Good thing. So
He just wanted
Yeah.
to get he just needed to get the ball rolling from. That's all.
yeah,
That's all.
yep.
Which is
Good stuff.
totally cool, like, great, and I love that he was, like, super excited about it and he cared and, wanted to get in there, but, like, let's, like, maybe chill throwing his name around and, like, talk to
Mhm.
the
It's a highly
actual guy who created the story, like, talk to the new
Yeah.
director, like, what's going on there?
It's
I
a
wonder.
highly competitive landscape though, with all the streaming platforms. Any edge you can
Right.
Yeah.
take.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
you don't want to get too far away from the logo, right? And if Ridley
Right.
Yep.
Scott's the logo, we're talking about it because he's involved, right?
Yep.
Because it's Ridley
Right.
Scott episode.
And I mean, he was legitimately involved, like, he wasn't just an EP that they were, like, trading on his name, like, he did get in there and direct some episodes, but, yeah, I just find it funny now that we're, like, so far removed from that, and they're still like, "Ridley Scott's Raised by Wolves."
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw like the first half of the first season, and I didn't know that Ridley Scott was involved, unless I knew it like subliminally, and then I watched it.
Right.
But like, this is the first I'm hearing of it, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh, hmm, interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't even know he did House of Gucci either. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
What
Yeah.
feel
a
like
what a
that was a
diverse
deliberate
career.
strategy, though.
yeah,
I feel like that
Yeah,
was a
that's
deliberate
true.
strategy to keep his name out of House of Gucci because that would have been, like, opposite of, like, well, what's really Scott doing directing a movie about, like, a fashion house?
Yeah.
Even though
'Cause
it
he
really
would've gone
wasn't
in with
about that?
preconceived notions.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. The guy
Yeah.
who brought you Alien and Gladiators, like, talking about Gucci, like,
Thinking
no.
House of
Great.
Gucci, yeah.
this one take place on Mars too? What?
Does it have Matt Damon in it?
Yeah. All
Fingers
right, so we'll kind
crossed.
of go in the opposite direction is how we started
Yeah.
here, and to see what people's favorite film is. So Renato, like, do you have
Oh
do you have an
man,
absolute favorite must
absolute
see?
favorite. I think on my list I said Gladiator, but the more I always think about it, oh, actually, I said Alien, and I'm an absolute sucker for Alien. But I actually saw Aliens first, part 2, the James Cameron one. I saw that one first,
Oh.
and
Okay.
that's what
Okay.
hooked me on Aliens. And I didn't see Alien until much like later on because I was like, it's a
Okay.
movie made in 1979. I mean, it can't be that great, right? It was before I was fully thrust into like xenomorphs and everything and films and all that, but. I saw Alien and I was like, "Holy shit!" It's a completely different movie from Part 2, obviously, and it was
Yes.
Yeah.
fantastic. It's amazing, but Gladiators, goat, goat status pretty much, like Russell Crowe at his finest, and so I still I'll keep Alien number 1 just because of my sci-fi passion, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that one. Yeah. So and then Gladiators 2, and then my third pick, I had a bunch of them. Like I read The Martian and I watched The Martian. It was both really good.
Mhm.
Black Hawk Down, American Gangster. They're all really well done, and a big fan of them, so I couldn't pick a third one. But yeah, I mean, maybe in my mood I'm in, my top two will flip, but
Yeah.
I'd have to lean towards Aliens or Aliens. Sorry, Aliens.
Right.
Easy now.
For
Easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
for my
Alien
top spot.
cubed, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, Resurrection.
It's okay. When
So
we were
Oh.
doing our Suicide Squad episode, it was very like difficult to be like Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
like.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll give it to Alien. Just I mean, also I'm a sucker for Sigourney Weaver, and
So
so yeah.
is anyone else share that as their favorite Alien? You? Okay. Same here.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Yeah,
that's the majority of the time. Okay.
Best.
It,
Yeah,
it was
favorite.
also the first
If I had to watch
I
a
watched.
Ridley Scott movie now, it would be Alien.
Mhm.
Okay.
That'd be first choice.
See, I'd say if I had to watch one, I'd probably be Gladiator.
Leave the
But
show.
I love Alien, you know. But like if I had to just sit down and watch one, I guess entertainment factor maybe would be Gladiator. But Alien is just such a well done movie in terms of like horror, suspense, thriller, and like setting the mood and everything together. Like it's a great movie to sit down and enjoy and watch. But like casually put on something right now, I'd probably put on Gladiator.
I
Okay.
don't think we're gonna like come to blows over this. If we were like
No, I
hanging
want.
out and you're like, "Hey, man, you want to watch Gladiator or Alien?" I'm like, "Alien." Like, well, I'm gonna watch
Well,
Gladiator. I'm like, "Well, I'll stick around for that. That's cool."
yeah, yeah, true. I mean, if you said the other way around, I'd be like, yeah, that's cool. Let's do that.
Yeah. No.
So okay. So yeah,
Both
Alien.
good.
I mean, most of us kind of agree on that one. I think that's interesting. I think that Alien is well, for the other two, Pete, your favorite being Alien. Why that? Why Alien?
I also have a penchant for horror movies, and I thought it was revolutionary in a couple of its ideas. Just a fertile ground where other writers have created this whole mythos now of the xenomorphs, and some did better than others. But just like the little detail, that was the movie that came up with the motion detector, and
Mm.
that was so revolutionary at its time. And I also saw Aliens first, so in the second movie, it was like standard piece of equipment that you would have this motion detector, and in Alien, like they had to jury rig it together, and I thought that was excellent. It brings me back to Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is an
Mm.
excellent movie
Mhm.
because you have a group of scientists being outwitted by a prime evil creature. So they're like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to kill the creature of the Black Lagoon this way. And then the creature of the Black Lagoon says, I see what you're trying to do, and then counters it. That's really good storytelling to me. When you have, instead of having a bunch of people say, hey, I sense danger, let's split up and make stupid decisions, you have them apparently make all of the right decisions and still fail. And that's
Mhm.
what appeals to me in Alien. Except for the part where she says, I got to go rescue my cat.
I was about
I'm
to
like,
say that. I was like,
no,
except for the one guy
girl.
looking for his cat, right?
Yeah, no, there were some parts where you're like, no, you split up and you shouldn't have split up, and
Yeah.
then you're
Sure.
like, I'm free. No, I got to save my cat. I'll get you another cat. It's an orange
Yeah.
tabby.
You be alright.
Which
Okay.
which I feel like James Cameron said in Aliens, she goes back for Newt. Like, now I have that emotional investment and I can see why you're like, I can't leave the kid behind. Whereas
Mhm.
it's a cat, and not being a cat person, I'm like, you're dumb. You are dumb. This
I'd go back for a dog though.
and
I
I know
I would
I'm
too.
like, there's
Yeah.
a sharp divide in the listening audience who'd be like, that son of a bitch wouldn't go for a cat. I wouldn't go back for him. Like, I get it. Like, if you're a cat lover,
Half our audience just dropped off.
Yeah.
yeah, they just canceled their
We're down to
Amazon order
one.
for my book. Damn it. But just for me as a teenager watching Alien, and she ran back for the cat. I'm like, no, come on.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that,
I mean,
there
emotional
was.
attachments to pets are pretty great.
I
Yep.
can't believe I'm focusing on like the one like minutia detail that I didn't like. But the
Out of
rest,
all
like,
the many things you could talk about, you're like, this cat, man.
the cinematography
This
of
orange
Alien,
tabby.
the whole.
He did a really good job for it being in such a small, or not small because it's a huge ship, but like it's literally like a factory, I guess if you want to call it that, or you know, tunnels, corridors, events. You know, he did really good framing all that. As
Yep.
you know, you just look what like just a scene where he's crawling to the vents. Obviously, that's probably
And there
one of
was
the
so
typical.
much shown but not told. Like
Yeah.
you see the pilot in the chair, but they're like, "What's that?" And like, I don't know. But we see it. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that?
You're not gonna talk about this,
right?
this giant
And then there's
spaceship we
like,
just came in? Yeah.
like a whole landscape of eggs. They're like, what is this? And like, we don't know. Like, so there's the storytelling in Alien like still impresses me overall.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So Shane, we'll get to your favorite pick in a second, but Andrea, why is it your favorite? You have you echo a lot of the same sentiments, or?
I do. So I came to Alien first. It was my first Ridley Scott movie. One of my very early like adult movies. I watched Alien when I was 10 years old. My dad and I had like father-daughter movie nights, and when my mom was like out with friends, and he showed me all kinds of things that I definitely probably shouldn't have been watching at the age of 10, like Alien and Predator, etc. Some of his favorite movies. And I remember just being so enthralled by the story, just like the suspense, the surprises. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to get a little spoilery. The
So 40 years
bursting out of the chest, like it's still just one of like the greatest, like, Jesus, I didn't see that coming moments I've ever
Yeah.
had from a movie.
I knew it was
'cause
coming when I watched it, and I was just like, "That's
You're
kinda-
still
what
yeah.
it's still just
that's
like,
wild."
what?
It's so iconic. People who
The
haven't
well,
seen the movie still know about that,
graphic
right?
too, and it's just kinda like,
yeah.
oh, like these
Well, and
these dudes were just eating, you know.
it's just such a great setup of we already feel like the danger is past. Like he's already had the thing wrapped around his face, like,
Right.
Right.
but we're
Yeah.
okay now. And it's just such a good normal setup of like everything is fine. We are eating this like adorable, family meal together now that we're reunited, and suddenly something is very not fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like the great setup of those moments. Like the way, I mean, like, you guys talked about like the way things have been shot, the sound, like, like the heartbeat as we go along, and that's how we kind of get clued in that something's coming. Just
The
like
sound is
these,
huge for me in that
yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, so the storytelling, absolutely. As an adult, like coming back to it and catching a lot of things, that obviously 10-year-old me wasn't quite getting thematically. I think it has a lot of the hallmarks of classic Ridley Scott storytelling in the sense of humans versus other. We talk a lot about xenomorphs, but also like obviously Ash, the android, is a big character in that, and human-like characters who are mechanized is a big, fertile territory for Ridley Scott. Like he loves to explore like the almost human, like where do you draw the line between human and not human? What differences are there when you're seemingly human, but you're actually like a mechanized being? Like, do you have a sense of humanity still?
And what's the
Um,
name of the computer?
what's the, yeah,
Mother.
Mother.
Yeah, I'll say it's
Yeah.
mother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They use that in Resurrection.
Yeah.
Damn you, mother!
So yeah, so it's just like a, I mean, not only humanity against like xenomorphs, this other humans against, near humans, and then also like this group of humans we have against this like larger corporation that's just sending them in, to try and harvest the xenomorph to, for profit, and like doesn't care if their lives are wasted. Those are all things that Ridley Scott like loves to talk about and like loves to explore, like these relationships, these kind of like power struggles, emotional struggles, between different classes of beings. So yeah, I think at kind of like a lot of different levels, Alien really works for me.
Yeah. I think man versus nature is one of my favorite lines for storytelling, and I think Alien does that very well. Like growing up is definitely Jurassic Park and those kinds of things that always really drew me in. So here with the xenomorph, I love that. I love the portrayal as well of very like non Star Trek kind of space exploration,
Mm-hmm.
very dark, gritty kind of thing. It really
Mining
shows.
company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and it's like
Well, it's very
the
normalized,
Yeah.
which is fun. It's not like, ooh, like space travel is the thing. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not like flashy, like, oh my gosh, we're space traveling. It's like
Just
space
blue
travel.
collar people working in
Yep.
space.
This is what we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker now for the retro tech,
Yeah.
what's advanced, but clearly it's an old little screen that's, I love that kind of thing. It's along with the Cowboy Bebop lines again, that sort of like mixture of,
Like
it's the future, but
nostalgia, like future
yeah.
nostalgia. Yeah.
hmm And I just expressing the danger of going to a new planet so well. They do this in a later Alien one as well. I think Alien Covenant, I think
Mm-hmm.
is maybe one of the best examples. But just that, I think of like the trailblazers in America or whatever going across, like you just going into the complete unknown. You have nothing, you have no call for help. You have no idea where you're going. You don't know what you're going to get into. You're probably going to die. All this stuff. I love that kind of story because the odds are so stacked against
Mm-hmm.
your protagonists. So, Shane, have you seen Alien? You like Alien
Yeah,
franchise?
I've seen Alien.
It's I.
No, it was the first. So I've got a whole list of notes here. Alien was probably the first movie by Ridley Scott that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much everybody else. Like I don't know. I think when I think about movies he's done, that probably is the first that comes to my mind. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's so classically connected to him. And then the movie of his that I've seen the most is G.I. Jane. I realized that after I saw
Mm.
his list of movies. The only reason, and it's a good movie.
Yeah.
The only reason that I've seen that more than any of his other movies, like I could probably, I don't know if I could tell you scene by scene the whole movie now, but I've probably seen it at least like 15 or 20 times. The reason I've seen it so many times is because when I was like, whenever that movie came out, maybe like 1997 or something. I don't know. I
Yeah,
have it pulled up
97.
here. At that time, my family had HBO, or like around that time. So like that was one of the movies that they were showcasing at the time when we had like a premium cable channel. And so that movie was like always on. So we just always, I always watched it. It was always on. So anyways, I've seen it a ton of times.
Well, as an aside, we were already talking about G.I. Jane then.
Yeah.
Ashley the other day, I don't know where she saw it. Someone posed the question, who's the hottest bald person you know? Or you're familiar with? And I immediately said Shane. I did. You can ask her. I did. Which is like, okay, well, like that's but we're talking like Hollywood celebrities and anyone. So blame Ashley. I said you, whatever.
I
Bring it
thought
up
you were
with
going
her.
to say Demi Moore from G.I. Jane. I was like,
Well, then when I sat and thought about it, I was like, okay, Demi
more.
Moore. Yeah. So that was so. But he's like, well, does that count? He's not. I mean, I don't know. She shaved her head, so
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
why
By
not?
extension, then, does Natalie Portman count from V for Vendetta?
V for Vendetta.
Oh,
Didn't think of that one.
but I got to give it to Jane.
Britney Spears.
I mean,
Oh.
she's got.
Nice.
Britney Spears.
I was about to say Nebula, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nice, Karen Gillan.
Okay,
Yeah.
you get okay. We got
we got
you
a
guys
whole
gotta-
side
Hey,
show
come on,
about
episode.
this.
Yeah.
Next
right.
episode.
Yeah. Sorry to.
Bald
Okay.
chicks.
Mhm. All right.
Well, so that's the one I've seen the most.
Okay.
And then it's like a three-way tie of which one's my favorite. Alien's up there. I really do like Alien. But Blade Runner is definitely
Solid.
one of those three. Prometheus is another one. I actually like Prometheus better than the original Alien. I love Alien, but I like Prometheus better. I came away. That was like the only. Well, I shouldn't say the only movie. I came away from the theater seeing that, like, I couldn't stop thinking about that movie. That movie sat with me for so long.
Mhm.
I
In a
didn't
good
know if
way?
I well, I didn't know if I liked it or didn't like it, but it
Mm.
made me think about it
I felt the same way just because I was
for a
like, okay,
long time.
he's building a big world, so I
Mhm.
was kind of watching it, anticipating more, having even before the movie was released, or maybe during, but they had already said like this is gonna be one of three. Technically, it was supposed to be one of three.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Prometheus was, and then I was just like, okay, so I went in kind of expecting more, so I was fine the way it ended, and like I was like, okay, I mean it built on or it set up a bigger world, so I was like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm excited
It's
for
got
that because I'm
time, yeah.
excited to see more. Yeah, so that's
Mhm.
I
kind of how I felt, but I was like, the movie itself was kind of just like, well,
It made me wanna
eh,
it induced rage in me. I wanted
okay,
to whip MP's at a brick wall.
Mhm.
That's the effect that Prometheus had on me.
I I'm with you, Shane. To me, I think the reason for the attachment or the weird like lingering effect to me is that it was of all the Alien movies with Prometheus and Alien Covenant, it embraced more the H.R. Geiger aesthetic. Like
yeah,
Mhm.
I really thought it went more down that line. It got a little weirder. Um, they managed to in both those films, they managed to, I think, recreate a shocking moment, like when you first have the alien bursting from the chest,
Mhm.
when we see forgetting her name right now, the French actress.
Let me
Give me
Rapace.
with this.
Yeah, yeah, she's she's gonna go through the operation, herself,
Oh
and
yeah,
we're gonna see it.
Yeah.
yeah,
These tense, those like to me, that's some of the most tense moments in cinema. And they do it again in Alien Covenant, and I just think that they nail those things. There's just an eeriness to the whole. It's just a vibe that I am a fan of.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
despite its some issues, like
And I got
clumsy aside,
and I think that's why I like Raised by Wolves too, because I get the same kind
yes,
of feeling with that
exactly.
Mhm.
show that I do with
Mhm.
those two movies.
Sure.
And so he set that tone, and so like if Ridley Scott contributed that to Raised by Wolves, setting that tone and that look
Mhm.
and the whole, then that's worth it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the third one is Kingdom of Heaven. It's one of my all-time favorites, but
Nice.
the
Nice.
director's cut.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I was gonna list that as like the most underrated.
oh,
That's
I was gonna say
that's
Black Hawk
definitely
Down.
Oh, you
that's
think so? But
I
okay.
think Kingdom of Heaven underperformed more.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of the movie itself, just in like people's expectations, like estimations of how it was going to do and like financially. I think it
Box
just
office,
like
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
box
like, oh,
office
Ridley
wise, it
Scott,
just
he did
didn't
Gladiator. Now that he's doing
Yeah,
this, that's kind of like
right.
that again. And
Right. And then
no.
it was a good movie, but people just sort of like set the bar so far out of reach for it that it never could get to live up to people's expectations that way.
that was the one they like a big gripe, I guess, was that it was too long, right? Is that one?
Yes,
That's I
but the
mean, that's part
problem
of
is
people's gripes for sure.
the
Yeah,
theatrical release was shorter, and that's the
Mhm.
one that's really not very good, in my
yeah. I
opinion.
mean, that
But
makes
the
sense.
It's
director's cut
fine.
is really good,
Yep.
and that's like,
It's like the
forever
perfect
long.
Snyder's cut, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
No,
We're all gonna
I
sit here for
I
another
mean,
half hour while John talks about the Snyder cut.
Snyder cut?
Oh,
Did
do
you
I know
actually
this
watch
story?
that one, or did you just
Johnny.
hate it without seeing it?
No, I like Snyder cut.
Okay.
I was
Jesus,
stunned
this
at
is the
the
opposite John
difference.
rant. This is
Yeah, I was
I love the Snyder cut. Let me tell you
it's
about it
just
for
a
30 minutes.
it's an example of how what an incredible difference editing makes,
Mhm.
and how you start with a vision, and if you have someone else change it in the middle and do their own thing, you know why things felt so odd. you
Yeah.
know so it went from a what is this movie to a wow, I like this movie.
A
Mhm.
So
coherent movie.
yeah, I'm like, this, I don't believe it, because I didn't believe it was going to be a thing, because they didn't sit and refilm a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah,
it's like, how can it change that much?
essentially
Is
sitting at a good
dramatic,
movie. Yeah.
drastic change. So.
Mhm.
But
Anyway,
yeah, I love Kingdom of Heaven. I think it's I do think it's underrated. I think
Mhm.
that it's gorgeous. I love the music. I used to listen to the score a lot. Um,
It came
it's
out
just
in 2005, so I think it was
Mhm.
like right on the coattails of the Fellowship of the Ring. I
Yeah,
think, right?
Mhm.
it's the Orlando
I,
Bloom factor.
I think that
Yep.
was like during that time when every studio wanted to release a big, you know,
Epic.
Period. Epic. Yep.
epic battle movie, and like
Yep.
this was one of them, but like it wasn't going to ever be a fantasy type thing. It was
No,
historically based, true
right.
events, and
Well, and
I
Ridley
don't know.
Scott's not like a fantasy director. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? He's so into like the gritty and the
Well,
violent. Like
Legend.
when he does
1985's
when he
Legend
does historical
say otherwise.
pieces. No. Sorry, I'm like thinking specifically of like historical pieces,
Oh,
like
sure.
Gladiator, like Kingdom of Heaven, like The Last Duel. When he's into like his historical period, he's very like raw and gritty and not like let me tell you like just a very pretty story that's going to be palatable for everybody. He's not
Mhm.
concerned about that. I think Gladiator um is more palatable, but it's still like at its core very violent. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's probably the most cinematic of his historical films, but it's still not like this is fine family fare. Like there's heads being smashed in, like limbs ripped off. Like he's talking about incest on one hand, and then like the next hand, somebody gets like eviscerated. Like he's not. I don't
Ran
know.
over. Ran over by a carriage.
Right? Like he's
Chariot. Sorry, chariot.
he's not like Lord of the Rings is something that like the whole family can watch and it's amazing and wonderful, but like it's just not like the same commercially that you can do when Ridley Scott's like behind the lens when he's got a historical drama to film.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think he's gonna do what he's gonna do, and then make fun of anyone that doesn't like it. Because it's. But he does have that mix of like The Martian. That was very commercial, very
That
The
successful.
Martian
that
was
wasn't
nice.
It's a
historical
really good
drama
movie.
though.
Just like an
Right.
excellent.
The
You know what I
Martian's
mean?
fantastic.
No, The
That's
Martian is
another
so good.
example.
It's my third favorite. I'm just saying like it's not a historical period piece where like that's where I think like Kingdom of Heaven went sideways for audiences, not because of the movie it was because people's expectations were wildly different going in to see it.
Sure.
If you think
Yeah.
about the Martian and the Alien movie, like overall arch and the similarity of you're put in a difficult situation, you come up with uh, a way to outthink the situation, and then the circumstances change, and you just have to keep outthinking situation. Going back to my example with Creature from the Black Lagoon,
Mm-hmm.
you have that you have that dynamic where it's not just cut and dry. Like, okay, we figured our way out. Oh no,
Right.
then we're outsmarted, and then we have to get smarter.
Right.
And I like that storytelling, and it's consistent throughout Ridley Scott's career.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on your big list there, Shane?
I mean, I was just when you offered to have me join, I looked at his filmography or whatever, and I was like, I could honestly probably every day or every other day or something just start from the beginning and go through all his movies. There's not really like a dud amongst his list of movies.
If
Sure.
there was,
All
which one would you pick?
being a
Prometheus.
dud?
Point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I read the plot synopsis of 1985's Legend starring Tom Cruise. It
Oh my
seems
God.
like
I
that could
saw it.
maybe be a dud. Is it good? I don't know.
When I was a kid, I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think
haven't
it's
gone
more
back.
I don't think it holds up very well.
Yeah, I would imagine it sounded like it
Yeah.
might not, but
But the special effects of what's the devil's name? Is he the Darkness?
The Dark
Like
Knight,
Yeah.
very
the Dark Lord or something.
Dark Lord. I think it is
That's
the Dark Lord. Yeah.
so iconic. Like it might be worth it to just check out Tim Curry as Satan incarnate. Jeez.
Yeah, right.
Lord of Darkness.
Someone says, yeah.
Lord of Darkness. Okay.
It sounds interesting, I will say that, but it
Yeah.
seems like like a departure. I was surprised to find that it starred Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Probably the first and last fantasy movie he's been in, unless anyone can think of another one.
Mission
Top
Impossible.
Gun, Maverick.
Not really fantasy movies though.
Yeah, when you
It's a
think of
fiction.
anything of high fantasy
The
or
Mummy.
something.
The Mummy.
Yeah. Oh
Whoa,
man.
go on.
Oh man.
Ooh.
Don't
Yeah.
get
Well,
John started.
we're
I was
gonna
like
have
trying to bring an interview with a vampire, like sort of in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
that'll
a
work.
little bit, a
High
little edging
fantasy,
in there.
yeah, maybe.
We're gonna have to all watch this one and come
Legend
back, see how it holds
or
up. Yeah.
Legends or
hmm Yep. Well, I have to bring up Blade Runner. Someone had mentioned before, but to
We
Mhm.
need
me,
to.
that's
Yeah.
my like. I want to have Blade Runner as my number one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it has to be my second favorite. I think that it's so for defining so responsible for defining what Western audience's idea of cyberpunk is.
Mhm.
I think that it nails what Alien does in the look and creating this world so clearly and effectively. It's the stuff that like other people just can't manage. It's like when I talk about or complain about Altered Carbon or something that maybe I have
Mm.
high hopes for in the future cityscape and all the new advancements in technology we have now. It doesn't matter, because with practical sets and practical effects, it just, I don't know. It was a little too weird for me when I first saw it. Like I didn't understand it a lot, but it's kind of one of those things like a Japanese cyberpunk story, Akira, where every time I see it, I just love it more and more.
Mhm.
yeah, I saw Blade Runner today actually. This
Oh, wow.
afternoon.
Atta
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. Yeah, that's it. I was just like
We craving noodles and rain.
I was waiting for some rain, but I mean, you get a lot of Alien vibes, and it definitely like reinforced the idea that Ridley Scott just creates a mood and kind of keeps it and holds it, and it puts you in that mood. Because I was just like, damn, this shit's dark and gloomy. I was like, okay, it's gonna be like that for a while.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, everything was good. It was I hadn't seen it in a while, and I had just started watching it a few weeks ago, and didn't like I got like 10 minutes in and turned it off. I was just like, I'm not feeling the mood for this right now. But yeah, it was really good. Considering
I'm
it's like
going to
30
Renato's house. We're gonna watch Alien. We're gonna watch
Mhm.
Gladiator.
Oh
We're gonna
yeah,
watch Blade Runner. We're gonna eat
Predator. We
so
got some.
much Lumalnatis. We're gonna get
yeah.
some Chicago barbecue.
Hey,
Man, it's Friday. I could be
yeah,
there.
definitely.
I could be there by 6 a.m.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But it was yeah, I was impressed with honestly everything. Like I don't remember being that impressed with it the first time I watched it. Maybe it just went over my head. But
But
I
it
watched it
had Han
again.
Solo in it, so it was great.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh,
It's definitely not some casual viewing unless you've seen
No,
it
no, definitely
before.
not.
You know what I mean? Like you
It's
cannot watch this
casual
movie
viewing when
casually
you're
for the first time, at least, maybe even the second.
as a Star Wars fan. Han Solo was in the movie. I'm like, I'm checking this out, and there's robots and there's laser beams. Not quite there, but I
Really
was
loud
into it.
guns.
It was all over my head, right? But I remember thinking like, oh, that was cool.
But
And
it's not
then
like
seeing it
casual viewing. You can't like put it on and just,
now,
you know what I mean?
Well,
Like
I
now it
as
is for
as an
sure.
adult,
Yeah. But like the
now you're
first time you
engrossed.
view it, you cannot just like I'm just gonna like have this movie on and like check in and out. Like you'll
no,
never
I mean,
get anything.
even today, I'd look at my phone for like 3 or 4 minutes, and I'd be like, what the.
Right, like
Happened?
what happened?
It's been 3-4 minutes. What I just missed. Like
Yep.
now I'm lost. Just,
The modern struggle is real. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that, but I did. It was hard for me not to put that because I saw it like in the top 3 because I saw it so recently.
Mhm.
But it
Yeah.
was really impressive, and I can see why like the influence that movie definitely had.
And it
Or
still
well, I guess
holds up.
Alien did, but and Blade Runner still holds up. So
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm definitely not surprised if someone did pick that as their like number 1 or whatever. But
Again, I
That's
wouldn't argue. I would.
Yeah.
that's the best
Okay.
of
Yeah.
the using the
Yeah, I want to
practical
watch Blade
effects.
Runner. Yep.
The practical effects hold up, and I just think some of those scenes they're just so gorgeous. It's just art.
yeah,
And when he is interrogating our I don't remember her name right now. But the
Amy
main
Daryl
woman.
Hannah.
Walsh.
Yeah. No, not Daryl Hannah.
Yeah, the brunette.
The replicant brunette. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just saw
Yeah,
this. What the
Oh yeah.
in the room, and just like the smoke and the way the light filters through everything, the way they make the
John
eyes
Young.
reflect, and I don't know. I just think it's kind of
Mhm.
a masterpiece. So
I got really like that scene reminded me of the that first interrogation scene from Inglourious Bastards with Christoph Waltz and
interesting.
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was just like
that's iconic.
a really tense vibe. Like you didn't even know that she was a replicant at the moment. You know, he kind of just casually says it like, "Oh, she doesn't know," and then he's just like, "No, she doesn't." Like, what? Wait, what?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
this chick was a robot the whole
Sean
time.
Young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan put in the chat Rachel. Yeah, that was her name.
Oh, I'm gonna
Rachel.
say
Mhm.
Rebecca.
Yep.
Rachel.
Yep.
So yeah, I can't express how much I like that one
Yeah, Blade
enough.
Runner. Now I gotta go back and rewatch the 2049. So
Yeah.
That
Also
also had a really
underrated.
good opening scene with
yeah.
Drax, Batista,
Oh
Dave
yeah, but
Batista.
Mhm.
That was cool.
Right. Yeah. Shane, you're a big fan of 2049, right? Which do you like more, the original or 2049?
Well, I don't know. It's comparing apples to oranges for me. Like
Okay.
they really are different movies, and I think they both do what they set out to do very, very well. And I would watch either happily. And I think they're both, I don't know, masterpieces in a way. Like I
Mhm.
like both. Real like I was just like you, John. The first, or most of you are. The first time I saw Blade Runner, I think I was too young. I think it went over my head a little bit.
Mhm.
But as an adult watching it, it was like, I don't know. It's just something you can't. I can't, if it's on, I can't stop watching it. And the
Mhm.
same is true for 2049. Like I don't know, like seeing that in the theater. I wish I could have seen the original in the theater just to get
Mhm.
that experience. 2049, I remember going to see that in the theater and just being like in it the entire way, like never
Mhm.
once not being a
Yeah.
part of that experience. And um, anytime I have that sort of feeling when I go into a theater and see a movie, I come away thinking like I could call this a masterpiece of a movie, like because
Mhm.
Sure.
it's engaged me, it's brought me into its world, it's the sound, the visuals, everything just comes together so well,
Mhm.
creates a world, and
Mhm.
it's definitely both of them do that very well, and yeah, they're different. I mean, even though it's the same universe, they're two different directors that are going at this world, and each of them tells their own story, and they do it really
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't pick between the two. Like I said, I think they each do their own thing really, really well. So
Yeah, I think that it sometimes the I don't know, people like Scorsese and stuff, they come off as pretentious and a little like into themselves or whatever when they're, we understand the art of film and all this other garbage is just that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I watch a Ridley Scott film or Denny Villeneuve, or I'm not sure how to say his last name, that did 2049, I do kind of feel like the I don't know, there's a laziness or like maybe if it's a democratization of filmmaking or something where we're losing people that really know what they're doing. And I think watching a Ridley Scott film or a younger director like Denny reminds me that no, there's these people that really do get it. And there
Mhm.
is something
Mhm.
different about a film when someone really gets it. They understand the language of film and they're not just putting things on screen.
Mhm.
And I think it is a dying art in a way. Just like my dad is a sign painter, and he saw the major degradation in the quality of signs once everybody got a computer they could just design their own thing and print it out. They'd do so anyone would open up a shop, start making logos and signs for people and print it out, and none of them knew what they were really doing. They didn't study the like spacing or when you sans format or non they didn't changing the having the highlighting color on the wrong place, shadow versus foreground, like all this stuff that people are just, looks good, And I think we're getting some of that in the filmmaking industry where you just got people, they know the
For
right
sure.
person, they get in there, they don't really get it. And so it doesn't mean that every movie made by Scorsese or Ridley Scott you're going to like, but you're going to appreciate the knowledge of the craft. And I think that, yeah, every time I see a Ridley Scott film, I'm reminded of that.
Mm.
He's a craftsman.
Yeah.
Dying breed.
Yeah, it's just it is an art form, It took
Yeah,
a long
absolutely.
time for Hollywood, anyone to understand what that language was. It started developing, I think, in France, and they figure out, like, yeah, you can't jump off a 180-degree line and switch your camera. People don't know where your characters are looking, that kind of thing. Like, you don't realize until you or whatever, And
Well, the other component of that, John, is that not everybody speaks that language.
mhm. But you don't
So
have to speak it to appreciate it, I think. It's kind of like seeing a photograph that your friend took versus a professional photograph. You don't know why you like the professional one better necessarily, but you do.
There
I
may
would
be some.
argue, I'd argue it's more like wine, where you have some people who are real connoisseurs of wine, and then you have me who like, I couldn't tell you the difference between $100 bottle of wine and $2 Chuck, and well, what am
Oh,
yeah, it's this one. So there's a reason why you get a lot of popular opinions for certain movies that are poo-pooed by some of the critics, and it just a head scratcher. Like, why didn't you appreciate this Adam Sandler movie? Loves, right? So
Cinema gold.
I would argue that not everybody speaks that language. Some people do, and some people can tell the difference between a professional sign painter, someone that's just churned out by someone who's a hobbyist or a novice, not a master craft like your dad.
I think that's the difference of content though. Like if someone made it's like someone prefers Mountain Dew to, whatever other beverage is maybe more expensive and has a lot more flavors going on in it. It's because of what it is. So you prefer a superhero thing because you like superheroes. But if you had that superhero movie side by side with someone that knew what they're doing versus someone that just put it together, I would like to see what that looks like.
We're
What's
talking
what
Iron Man 3.
maybe, right?
Everybody,
Yeah.
like the masses loved Iron Man 3, and I'm going to tell you that is Satan's spit, is what that is.
So really good?
No, no, Satan's pain
No.
is really good.
Oh,
Satan,
gotcha. I can barely remember Iron Man 3.
I think you need to have some. I think I kind of agree with both of you in a way. I think that to kind of really appreciate it, you need to have some base knowledge as to what you're looking for or what you're watching for, or like how to identify the intent of a director or a writer or whatever, or a vintner or whatever. Like, to appreciate it, you sort of need to know the work that went into it, what they were aiming for. Not that you need to have gone to school for it or have a master's degree or something like that to really truly appreciate good film or quality filmmaking. But like, if you don't know, I mean, to be able to tell the difference between a well-written, well shot, well acted film, and like the latest Marvel movie, which are great, right? Like they're entertaining. They, keep you focused for however long their runtime is, for the most part anyway. But, in terms of like masterful filmmaking, they're just not really there. Not that they couldn't be, but
Right.
well, I'll tell you where I'm coming from. So in college, we made student, and we took some of the footage, and I worked for a TV station, and so we had our head editor take a look at the footage, and he cut together a clip for it that you can find on YouTube. and I thought I'd test it out, and I'd also cut a trailer together. And the majority of people enjoyed both trailers equally. If they're my friends, they're going to say, yeah, it's really. But there was one person who was, in my opinion, snobbish. She was really good. And she said, well, I like the other one better. Not mine. And I'm like, well, yeah? Well, why? She's like, well, it was really cut well to the beat of the music. And I'm like, not everybody can pick up on that, but you're exactly like the guy who was the head editor has been a musician for years, and he just combined it to the beat of the music and just tell a story that a certain demographic appreciated, and it was lost on other people, myself being one of the ignorant ones.
Pete, do you have your other earbud yet?
No,
You sound
I
all
will
kinds
not.
of crazy. Yeah,
Am
no,
I speaking French?
Almost.
no. Yeah, no, I certainly understand what you're saying there. I don't know. When I get disheartened by cinema these days, just something that like for me it was Dune. You know, again, Denny, Dune just refreshed my, just like woke up my palate. You know,
It was
so.
gorgeous. It was a gorgeous
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we're just all getting used to this a little bit of a formulaic kind of process for movies, like with the superhero movies and Fast and Furious and all the big blockbusters. They kind of have a pretty standard, like I said, formula, I guess, that they're gonna follow. You have your good guys, you have your bad guys, and we know who's gonna win.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
still
Yeah,
watch
I think
sports
I think
movies.
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, I love me some Marvel and I love me
There's
some.
no, there's no like suspense. Like, hey, the underdog's gonna win, but I still
Yeah.
go.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I think Shane really hit something about Ridley Scott is like he it feels like he makes films, or in the case of Raised by Wolves, some TV that is designed to sit with you. There's a lot of, I want to think about it afterward, and I want my audience to be thinking about it afterward. There's lots of ambiguity, there's lots of like boundary pushing, like like I was talking about earlier. He loves to explore like questions of humanity. Who has it? Who doesn't? How do we express it? Can it be artificialized? If so, like, what does that mean? If not, why not? He does a lot of cliffhanger endings. Like, there's a lot to be said about like Ridley Scott's brand of storytelling that is designed, in my opinion, to stay with you. A Marvel movie is not exactly designed to stay with you afterwards. It's a very satisfying thing. But it's very like cathartic. Like once you're done, like you feel like you've expelled your emotions, like there's been some resolution. We don't need to walk away, wondering about like the state of Iron Man's soul for, 2 hours or whatever.
That's probably why
Like,
they were so successful, right? Because you get that completion feeling, but then
you
they give you
do. You
that
get
they
the
give you that
satisfaction.
give you that scene at the end of after the credits where it's a
It's like a
cliffhanger.
teaser. It's
Yeah,
great.
you're
Yeah,
like,
but
you
it's
still
not
have the
like
completion, and you still have that anticipation of the next thing too.
right. It's not it's like it's teasing you because it's like, ooh, look forward to this, not
Yeah.
ooh,
It's
like
almost like a
sit and
commercial.
ponder this about, in the next 2-3 hours of your life. It's just like,
Yeah.
ooh, get excited, not like, how do we define humanity?
mhm.
Ooh, I don't know.
But like clearly Ridley Scott's interested in how do we answer that question, because it's
Yeah.
I think it's so much of his big films.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's
Um,
probably why he. I was saying not why, but I mean, I guess the focus on androids was already kind of big in terms of
Mhm.
like how they felt. Like
yeah.
I guess it started maybe with Winona Ryder because Bishop was in 2, so he already had kind of like an emotional impact. He didn't have emotions, but they cared for him and played a
Mhm.
more important role that wasn't as aggressive, I guess so. But he obviously pursued that with in Covenant and Prometheus with
Mhm.
Mhm.
was it David, right? Yeah, David.
Mhm.
Yep. And then carried on Raised by Wolves as well.
Yeah,
Well, and
Um,
obviously Blade Runner.
yeah.
I
yep.
mean,
Yep.
he's super interested in that question, and
Yeah,
that's
maybe
what
I'm
that's.
biased because I love that question.
But yeah,
Mhm.
but that's I think, if we're gonna talk like what are the aims of Ridley Scott's movies, like that's definitely one of them. And
I
that's
think the
like
top.
that's the way he puts together a story is like, I want you to be thinking about this hours after you leave the theater, or,
Yeah,
shut off your television or whatever.
his top one is definitely White Horses, though. He just has white
Okay.
horses in all the
Sunbeams.
movies. Yeah, and
Sunbeams and white horses.
White
God.
Unicorns.
horses. Oh yeah,
He really
unicorns. Yeah.
sand. He loves sand. Like, doesn't matter if it's an alien world or if it's Gladiator or if it's the Last Duel. He's got to have some sand in there.
You know who doesn't like sand?
Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
It's so rough and coarse.
Oh
And
god.
it gets everywhere.
I like here. Everything's
Yeah. Smooth and
He's
soft.
such
Yeah,
a smooth
skin.
talker.
Yeah, I know.
Oh
I fell
god.
for him right then.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen Robin Hood?
Yes.
I a long time ago.
Not my favorite Robin Hood.
One
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, I enjoyed it. I haven't seen it
It's
since
fine.
the theaters, but when I did see it in the theaters, I quite liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I was taken by the music. And I don't know when he started using the composer. It's got a very normal name. See if I
Mike
can find
Jones.
it. Yeah,
Tom Jones.
Top
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
But-
it's in my opinion fine,
Orchestrating.
but
Yeah.
it's definitely
Okay,
not
get
his
this-
best.
That can't be right. That can't be
No,
right.
that is right. I'd say that is a little less normal than I thought.
Yeah, so
That is,
John, how
that
many,
is a
how many
polysyllabic
more
name,
Stryten
John.
films do you know?
But I thought the music was great, so that drew me in. And I didn't, honestly, at the time this came out, so it shows how late I came to it. I don't know if I'd even seen Robin Hood Men in Tights yet, so obviously very different kind of Robin Hood. But
And you're a
no,
big
The
Costner
sequel,
guy.
wasn't it?
I have yeah. Yep. So
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
his take on Robin Hood is like my fourth favorite Robin Hood.
wow,
First being the Fox in Disney, right?
that's a good
Oh,
one.
dropping down to 5. I didn't even count the Disney Fox.
Robin Hood and Little John walking through the
Through the
forest.
That was my favorite as a kid.
Ooh, la,
Lolly,
ooh, la,
ooly,
ooh.
lolly, golly, what a day. Yeah.
Couldn't
His
help
number
you
No,
out
one-
there.
so many other Robin Hoods before this one. But I
What's the
will
one with,
obviously put it above Taron Egerton,
That's the one I
Egerton,
was about to say
whatever,
with
and Jamie
Ooh.
Foxx. I will definitely put it above that one. That was
Unbelievable.
rough.
When I was a kid, Showtime had an original series called Robin Hood, and I loved it. And
Who's
then
in that?
a whole pile of people you've never heard of.
Okay.
And my folks got it on DVD through Netflix and say, "Hey, you want to come over?" I'm like, "You're darn right I want to come over and relive some of my childhood memories." And it was bad. It looked cool, but it was not as amazing as I remember. The
For
one
sure.
cool thing from that series, though, is it was the first time that a Saracen was introduced into the Robin's band of merry men, and his
Okay.
name was Nasir, and it was all about the crusade. And he showed up, and he was this Muslim character amongst all these white English guys. And then
White
since
Christians,
then, you have Morgan Freeman and all these other influences. I think directly from that. Yeah, there it is. I'm pointing at the screen that nobody else can see, but
Oh, we all see it.
Robin of
But-
Sherwood. Nice.
Yep. Now, here's how well I know this show. That's a shot from season 2, which had Sean Connery's son in the starring role. Season 1 had this other guy, and the show was so much a hit that the lead actor went to Dynasty. This
Oh
is
my
early
god.
80s.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like
That's
I'm leaving
great.
this Showtime show and I'm going to go to be on Dynasty for a
Wow.
season. So yeah, Jason Connery was in season 2. You
Huh.
know, the cliffhanger at season 1 is, oh no, Robin's dead. Like he ain't dead, and then we find out, oh yeah, no, he's going to Dynasty.
He's
Dead.
reincarnated. Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Jason Connery shows up. And you're like, okay,
Going
it's
up to
not his kid.
Dynasty, getting shot by
Yeah.
JR. Is he dead now?
Hey,
But they-
reincarnated. I'll say, speaking of reincarnated, it was Ridley Scott supposed to do Gladiator too?
He is.
It's
He's still
coming up.
planning on doing it?
Yeah.
He's still planning on doing it. He says the script is written and it's
that-
coming after. He's going to start shooting it after. I can't remember if he's making 1 or 2 movies in the interim, but
Napoleon and Untitled Alien prequel.
okay.
I'll say
And then he
the-
said he's going to get to Gladiator 2.
I'll say the leak,
Spoiler alert:
the leak
lead
Gladiator
actor,
Lucius.
lead actor in Gladiator 2, Jason Connery.
Well, I just
I gave the real answer. He
master
gave
of
the dream
sequels.
answer.
Yeah. No, I think I read something that the script that was floating around for Gladiator 2 was just insane. Like Russell Crowe's like reborn again, and like
Oh
it
my
becomes
God.
it becomes like fantastical in a sense. And
His
it's like,
name's
wait,
Kratos.
yeah,
And he's got these
God
kick-ass.
of War movie. I'm all
boy.
in on a God of War movie.
So that's one thing that maybe we could talk about with Ridley Scott and the never-ending alien stuff. So maybe, you know, if we got more, some people are less satisfied with them. So now a new one coming, and then there's supposed to be a TV show.
Yeah,
You
is
know,
he involved
Gladiator
with the TV
2.
show? I don't know if he's
I don't
involved with the
know,
TV
right?
Unconfirmed.
Yeah,
A lot about that
So-
TV show is
I was-
unconfirmed right now.
I'll say I was excited about. I thought they said that they had got somebody to direct or maybe produce, and it got me excited, but I don't remember actually. So maybe I'm making it up. So I'm like,
No.
oh shit, this person's.
Yeah, I mean,
They don't have anything?
so much about that show is up in the air right now.
Yeah,
So
I just love aliens.
Yeah, I just I worry.
But do you love
anytime
Aliens
something
versus Predator?
gets pushed into too many iterations. You know, like things
Yeah.
can stop.
The Aliens versus Predator was the best of the franchise.
I mean,
Which
I like
one?
Part two's-
Which franchise?
Yeah,
I
which
like,
yeah.
I like Part 2's vulgar and violence because Part 1 was PG-13 and it was kind of it was like off-screen deaths and it's a little disappointing when you watch an alien movie that's not a little bit more graphic. But I mean, those movies are just kind of disappointments regardless. But
No.
I'm not a big Aliens. I mean, I thought the first one was fine. You know, but it does degrade the Alien franchise in my view. And Predator. Predator. I mean, my take is the first Predator is great, and then Predator is quite good actually. I think.
that's the Adrian Brody one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's
That
good.
was
I like Part 2
surprisingly good.
too. You know, like Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
I thought
if
that
was
one was
good.
I think it was cool because it
I think
was
it's a
there's a
city
lot of
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's like parallels to being in a jungle, I guess, a concrete jungle this time, and then
There it is.
so I enjoyed it. Definitely, yeah. Part 1 is obviously goated, but
All right, we're
Yeah.
straying. We've
straying.
we got into the Predator territory. This what are we
As
else we
God
missing
intended.
on on Ridley Scott? And we have any like major disappointments, favorites, or things that really haven't brought up at this point about him or his filmography or what you're looking forward to or
I think
anything like
The-
that?
The Rolling
it was-
Donut.
was it rolling? Oh,
Do you get out of the
Run-
way of a rolling
to the
shit,
side.
rolling spaceship?
We got to run downhill. Somebody took a 90-degree turn. Like,
make a
this
turn,
movie
make a
sucks.
turn.
I was upset with this movie before. And like, there's no fucking way that thing's gonna fall from the sky and roll down the hill after them. And they're gonna run in a straight line, like, oh,
So
dumb.
I agree, but in fairness,
No.
probably one of my favorite movies ever is Jurassic Park. And what do they do in the tree with this Jeep
car?
impossibly falling down through the
Straight
tree,
down.
which would just like flip out of the tree. But instead it just crashes through all these giant branches and they just
Destroying
keep
these
climbing
huge
down.
Johnny, those
straight
are
below it.
prehistoric vines. We don't have a
No,
comparable
no,
analog.
it's garbage. It's garbage. There's so many mistakes in that movie and I still love it. with all my heart.
Well, we can't prove them because we didn't live during the time, right?
But you could have just moved aside.
But
You
Johnny,
just moved to the side of the tree, 3 feet each side. Done.
different though. There's a
No,
giant
no
rolling donut coming at you. What do?
I think the basic idea here is if it's coming straight at you, just
Yeah.
The only
Juke
way
your
it could
own.
have been worse is if they would have
Juke.
run toward it.
well, yeah.
I'm gonna get this donut.
Okay, so we've got Pete's complaint here, the rolling donut.
No,
Yes,
I was
indeed.
gonna say earlier, one of my underrated ones was Black Hawk Down. I think that was
Yeah.
like I didn't. It honestly like since we've talked more about his movies, I do realize like more Ridley Scott's feel of it. I didn't realize that was a Ridley Scott film too. I honestly just remembered it as like a gritty take on a an overseas combat, I guess, situation. I can't remember if it was based on. I think it was based on a true story.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that I was just like that. I think that was really well done. I think it really got down into like the gritty nature of it all, and it had like the grainy filming, which I don't think he's really used too much.
I
But
feel like that one set off a chain of
War movies.
semi-biographical or historical modern
I think so, too.
military
Mhm.
style movies. Because I remember, did
Yeah.
that win some Academy Awards or something like
Yeah.
that, or was at least
Mhm.
nominated?
Mhm.
There was so much acclaim for that movie. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's not, like just for me. Like I think talking about everything, and it's still like obviously didn't enter top 3 for us, so it just kind of gives credence to how good Ridley Scott is. And it's like for me that movie, it was just like it had such a giant cast, and it felt really intimate, but still it was really graphic. It was really violent, and it was literally war. Like I think it was a really good. I mean, I've never been to war, so I can't speak on it. Obviously, I don't know anything about it, but I think it gave me probably one of the better visuals I've had of conflict in that sense.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, for me that was a really underrated one, and I think it goes. A lot of people don't realize that it is a Ridley Scott movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I think and I wonder if it's a mixture of there's movies he really, really wants to do, and then there's movies that he does that he knows are gonna like be there for awards, and then the ones that are gonna be commercial successes, or if it's just like he just is interested in all these things and they happen to hit different boxes.
Yeah.
Again, like The Martian, very commercially successful. A lot of
Mhm.
people saw it. But then or Matchstick Men just feels like, it's a movie that,
Oh yeah,
people are
Matchstick
gonna go
Men.
see. Yeah. But then it's something like a Kingdom of Heaven or maybe even House of Gucci that seemed designed for award season or something like that.
I mean, yes, but also I feel like when we're talking about all of these, like even though they're different in the stories they tell, I feel like a lot of them are based on true stories, and he seems to be very interested in that no matter what the setting. You know what I mean? Like I'm just thinking about like The Last Duel based on a true story, like Black Hawk Down based on a true story,
American
like
Gangster.
American Gangster, House of Gucci, like all of these true stories that he seems to be like what can I bring to the table in exploring this, based on a true story. And then you kind of have his other like catalog of like pushing, sci-fi boundaries. I don't know. I just feel like there's
It is kind of a weird dynamic if you think about it, because it's
yeah,
really
it's
obviously
too
it's really historically, I guess, accurate if you want to say accurate, because it's probably not
right.
very accurate, but that
But he's like
based on
two
some sort of
very
reality versus your
two very
really
diametrically
fiction.
opposite
Yeah,
interests that he's just like, I don't know. I feel like I have stories to tell in these spaces. Like, what do I want to say?
Yep.
yeah. That is pretty impressive to be able to jump like, because even most of the like Scorsese, I don't think he's ever done really like a sci-fi movie or like a I don't
He
know,
doesn't really
fantasy
jump out of his
movie.
wheelhouse too
Yeah, yeah,
often.
exactly. It's like crime thrillers, I guess,
Yeah.
or something. And then even I mean, like I don't know how James Gunn even like he'll stick to his more sci-fi or I don't want to say comical because it's not like funny or whatever, but I don't think James Gunn's really done like a serious movie or historically accurate one. Maybe I'm not 100% on that, so I'll take my word for it.
Sure.
But it is impressive to be for Ridley Scott to be kind of jump between the two.
Yeah, for sure.
We're really shortchanging Thelma and Louise because
I was just thinking about that one too.
what
Okay. I
What-
haven't
what,
seen
uh,
that one either. I haven't seen that.
It's so good. It really is. I did not know what I was gonna like. I mean, I knew I thought I was gonna find a good story, but like, oof, really good.
Okay.
Strong women.
Mm-hmm.
Ridley Scott likes them, I guess.
True. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, he likes the evolution. Like
Yeah.
I feel like they're very like pseudo Ripley, like early, like two kind of very seemingly like innocent and waifish and
Well,
you
yeah, like
know,
even in Alien, like I don't think watching it the first time, I didn't feel like she was gonna be the one that survived at the end
right,
of
you
it.
don't like approach Sigourney Weaver's character and you're like, sure, like she's like, you know,
No, they
badass.
rise to the
badass
occasion.
bitch. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But there's like a transformation of like rising to the occasion
Yes.
that you see in like Thelma and Louise. You know,
G.I.
it's
Jane.
obviously a different setting, but it's like the same deal. They like
They're
rise to
going
the
against.
occasion. They
They're
figured
going
out.
against the archetypal depiction of how a woman would behave in these circumstances. They're
And
rising
even
above.
like G.I. Jane, like literally
Yeah.
this
There you go.
movie is about.
Preach. Keep going. You're
Yeah.
right.
Well, and then by the end
Also,
of the movie,
G.I.
they're so
Jane
like,
has.
oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was gonna make a joke. I was just gonna say also G.I. Jane has Viggo Mortensen in it. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, Thelma and Louise has Brad Pitt.
we're talking about the King of
That's
Men
some-
here.
Got some eye candy.
Brad Pitt.
Oh, Viggo Mortensen is?
Yeah.
No. Brad Pitt.
Well,
G.I.
from
Jane,
Lord of
yeah.
the Rings, he is
Yeah.
King of Men.
He'll
Okay.
be the king
I
of my
gotcha.
heart forever.
What happened
All
to
right.
Viggo Mortensen? Did he just retire?
Yeah,
he's still floating around.
he was
Is
in
he?
Green Book. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's
a
right. He
while
was a
ago,
Green
but
Book,
yeah.
yeah.
hmm
A few years ago, yeah.
He's been a lot choosier about his projects. He got pushed into some stuff that right after Lord of the Rings that he was not particularly
Drugs.
pleased with.
Eastern Promises.
mind.
Hidalgo.
Eastern Promises was good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
I
Eastern
rem- yeah,
and
yeah.
what's the violence? History of Violence.
That was
Yep.
good too.
Yeah.
Comic book movie, yeah.
Yeah.
It
He liked
was?
that stuff. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
Hidalgo, he got pushed into and was not pleased
Oh,
about.
That's the
Right.
horse racing movie.
Wasn't there some like
Yeah.
horse die in that movie or something?
Okay, can we talk
Yeah.
about horse dying with Ridley Scott? For God's sake,
Yeah.
man. Take it
I mean, he
easy on
loves
the
his-
animals in your movies.
He loves
Go
his cavalry.
on.
We can't be mad at him.
Jesus.
Yeah, the last duel. What was that? That one of the first
The
scenes.
first
We're
scenes,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, those poor
The first
horses.
and the last. Even in the
Yeah.
duel, I was like
Yeah, yeah.
feeling sorrier for the horses than I was the two guys.
Mhm.
Like, he just like runs one into a wall. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Spoiler.
Well, let's be honest. The two male
Sorry,
characters.
I can't.
There wasn't anything really redeeming about the two male characters in that movie, but
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
I was
I
like 5
really-
minutes in. Go ahead.
So
I really
he's
thought
not
I was
a
going to be
horse lover.
bothered. I thought I was really going to be bothered by the haircuts in that film.
The mullet.
Like all the and like Ben Affleck's bleached hair and whatever. I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit myself down and be like, just have to get past it. Got past it right away. I was actually more troubled by like the dialogue. That was like
well,
way
my
too
first-
modern for the time.
Yeah, my first 2
Mm.
minutes in, I was like, okay, is Matt Damon American? Like, is
Well,
this in France or
Adam
something?
Driver uses the word "you have to be solvent," and I was like, shut up. Nobody in 14th century France uses the word solvent to talk to anybody.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like
That's interesting because he does usually bring such a credibility.
right.
Regardless of what ultimately ends up being factual or not in his historical
And
dramas.
to be fair, he didn't write it.
Well, didn't he get a
Affleck,
lot
Damon, and another writer collaborated, but
Okay.
it was just something that I was like, I mean, you don't have to get like super into like, we don't have to go back to like, let's read some Chaucer and like, speak like
Was
the
it- did it-
Canterbury Tales, but could have not used the word solvent.
Well, he had a lot of flack for Exodus, right? Gods and whatever. Because it was
Yeah.
like predominantly English actors, I think, and it was
Yeah.
about Egypt. or
Playing
something.
Egyptians, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Is that a
so
problem?
it is
nah.
an interesting, so is it getting less, picky, or, I think we've talked before about him biting off more than he can chew, taking too many projects. He's just kind of all over the place,
Mhm.
and so whether that's on just an executive producer role or it's directing or whatever, you're just going to have fingers in so many pies. And, does that make something suffer? But we really haven't talked about hardly disliking any of his films, really. So maybe that's not the case. But, when I say it
Yeah.
seems like he brings a credibility to a historical drama, then maybe he's not so much anymore. Maybe it's he's willing to float, between those things.
Well, I mean, to partially answer this question, I think when I was looking at his film catalog, it wasn't as expansive in like previous years. I feel like right now he's so involved in so many things. It's gotten
Right.
like the speed with which he's making different projects has accelerated. And I think it's probably not only like a product of the industry, but probably that there are just more opportunities to do these things as well. Because when I was looking back, I was just sort of struck by the fact that like he's made a lot of very big name movies. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things that people would recognize if you said the title, like they wouldn't be like, "Oh, what's that rando obscure one?" So he didn't make a lot of like filler in between these really good movies. But just right now, I feel like he's involved in so many things. He just like, I don't know,
Spread
kind of
thin.
needs to maybe make a movie every couple of years instead of every couple months, which it seems like is happening right now.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. What is there anything that hasn't been said? Otherwise, we've talked about our favorites, talked about some disappointments, talked about some hallmarks of the man and his films.
Yeah, I think
Is
it's.
a piece gone unspoken.
I don't think it was pretty enlightening for me, honestly. Like even after looking at filmographies and everything, and just talking about it's just,
Mm.
oh shit, okay, he's pretty legit. He wasn't a one hit or
You're
two hit
welcome.
or two. Yeah, I appreciate it. Open
All right.
my eyes to a whole new angle of Ridley Scott.
My
Cool.
final statement
Mm.
on the topic of Ridley Scott is I think what he should do next is a blockbuster film version of Cowboy Bebop. Live action.
Interesting.
Shane, and we're back where we
Interesting.
Oh,
started.
I'll wait for that one to come out. I'll wait for that
You
one to come
know,
out. I'll watch that one first.
an eye like his is someone I would respect a lot more to attempt that, because
you see-
I've said for years that if there's going to be an anime that could work in a live action setting, I mean, you take slice of life animes, a number of those they get made in Japan into live action films.
Mhm.
Those make sense. It's just more realistic, down to earth. But something else would be Cowboy Bebop. It's this blend of it's a blend of noir, cyberpunk, western, with like a lot of like homage and respect to American rock and blues. And I think that it's something that could be perfectly grounded and could be great in the hands of someone like Ridley Scott that can world build so well.
Mm.
Oh,
But it would
John,
be
you
dependent
beat my
upon him
joke to death.
understand what's that.
Yeah.
You beat my joke to death.
Yeah. No, I'm I know, but I'm just taking it because
Oh, that's all right. It's all good.
because I used to be
Shane
in the
served up a
stance where
softball, and John's like pulling it down,
I
checking
used
the
to be in the
laces, like,
stance
ooh.
where I wanted more adaptations of my favorite things in different mediums. And I'm kind of not there. It's like, well, that was a mistake. That was a problem. I was wrong. I admit it. I was wrong. But it's not that none of it could be done well. So
Mhm.
I take your joke and I take it seriously. It could be a real thing.
I'm glad you're open-minded.
That's right.
Now go watch his Peacemaker rant and say that again.
Oh,
I haven't touched Peacemaker either. I gotta check that out.
yeah.
It's like,
Don't get him started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I won't say anything about it. I just was so disappointed. So, all right. Well, I want to give everybody the opportunity to plug anything they want to plug. If you're involved in something, if you've got a website with merch you want to talk about,
Ooh.
you got books, you got things you're doing, guest appearances you're going to make out in the wild, like motivational speaking, whatever it is. But I thank you all for joining us, and we'll start with Renato.
Oh man. Oh well, thank you for having me. It was great being first episode. It's awesome meeting you guys. Good conversation. I don't really have anything to plug. I did host a podcast for a while. It's called Exquisite Obscenities. It's quite vulgar but I've got really good feedback on it. I haven't recorded in a while. We had a few people leave, but it's something I hope to get back into. Find some new hosts with me, but that is something I did. But it was nice to get this kind of back into it, and I really enjoyed doing it. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah, keep us posted if that resurfaces, and we'll tune
Yeah,
in.
we have what, like 20 episodes I think up on everywhere. But like I said, it's been like a year since we recorded. So
Sure.
Yep.
yeah, but yeah, thank you.
All right, Pete.
Yeah, you can check out Peter J. Gilbertson on Amazon.com if you like the science fiction, fantasy, and horror stories. We've got Vampire Autopsy and Other Tales, Zombies at the Gates and Other Tales.
Can I get that
Where
signed?
the-
Can I order it signed?
Yeah, I will make that happen.
Yes.
Where the
Drive
weird
it down
kids
to
go-
you.
Yeah.
As long as you got
I'll get it
Illuminati's.
tonight. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll trade you Illuminati's.
You don't understand that.
He's
that
already
is-
on his way.
Yeah, this sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Did you ever go to Hot Doug's Encased Meat Emporium?
I did.
Yeah.
I went before they closed down. They have a stand at Wrigley, so you can still get some hot dogs if you want it.
Oh man, yeah. But
Yeah.
they'd have the duck fat fries on Friday. That was
Yeah.
part of my must go to it.
So I will plug one. Yeah, if you're ever back, there's one spot called the Duck Inn. They make really good duck, but they also have duck fat fries and really good hot dogs and food. So if you're ever in Chicago, Bridgeport, check out the Duck Inn. It's awesome.
We're gonna party.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100. Looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah, everybody should definitely check out Peter's books, Amazon.com. We'll try to put the link in the YouTube description. Shane, how about you?
Well, this is something really close to my heart. I've been thinking for years about going to Italy, so I'm going to put up a GoFundMe page. So, anybody wants to donate to that,
I got 5 on it.
we'll have Alan post a link later.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Anywhere in particular you want to go?
No, we're actually we are planning on going to Italy in August for a friend's wedding, actually. But
Nice.
no GoFundMe.
Oh,
I thought it was gonna be a
I'll fund
GoFundMe
myself.
for so they'd make a season 2 of Netflix Cowboy Bebop.
come on.
Hey, didn't somebody
Hey, you
somebody pick it up? I thought somebody bought the rights to it to produce it.
I have no idea. No
It's
idea.
possible. I mean, I know
Thank God for
Netflix.
the last person.
I'm not kidding.
No,
coming
Netflix
back.
was pretty quick on the draw to cancel it, but I mean,
Yeah,
that doesn't
I'm
mean somebody else didn't pick up the IP.
Yep.
I think someone did.
Well,
Oh yeah.
bad things happen every day.
6 seasons in a movie.
Seasons in a movie, baby.
Andrea, anything out of the ordinary, different for you this week?
Not this week, but a couple of Saturdays from now on February 19th, I will be getting back into the live theater world.
Ooh.
Going to be in a show
As?
at the huge theater in the Twin Cities. It's called Off Book, and it's several different sketches where the directors pair up a scripted actor with an improv actor. And have them do several different scenes together to kind of see if the improv actor can guess what's going on. I'm one of the scripted actors. I'm not an improv person. I'm not great at that, but I can say the heck out of scripted lines, and I can play off someone who's improving me. So I will be doing that
Nice.
at
Cool.
8:00 Saturday, February 19th. The show is called Off Book at the huge theater. If anyone wants to check it
it's
out.
One showing.
Yeah, so I'm part of a rotating group of scripted actors, and we each kind of like get a night. And
Okay.
February
Yep.
19th is my night. So
Mm.
All right. Sounds exciting.
Is it gonna be live streamed?
I don't know.
It'd be a good
It might
question, yeah.
be,
That's good.
honestly. I'll let
Let me
everybody
find
know if
out,
it
yeah.
is.
Yeah,
What
that'd be
night
dope.
will you be getting? Is it a moon night?
Is it what?
The 19th of
Moon-
Friday.
Did I-
What?
A moon
Oh
night.
my gosh.
Ayo.
Damn it, I missed
Peter's
it.
obsessed.
He just had to slip that in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's been Popcast on the Rocks, episode 93. We're approaching 100, getting
Ooh.
there. We'll do something special, maybe. Yeah, we've been past more than a year now, so make sure to go back and listen to things we want. We're on YouTube, and you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that sort of thing. We're also on your favorite podcast directories. Take your pick. Spotify offers a video version now if you want that. We're also on Apple and I think Google and Stitcher, so a bunch of different ones. Be sure to leave a review. That helps us out. And that'll do it from us. Thank you, everyone, for joining me this week. And Andrea, of course, thanks for always being here.
Of course. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.